There is a silent line drawn in the sand of human history, invisible to the naked eye, yet as real and unforgiving as the force of gravity itself. On one side of this line stands the vast majority of mankind, the 98% who live and die without ever scratching the surface of their true potential. These are the souls who wait. They wait for the economy to improve, they wait for the right season, they wait for permission, and they wait for a feeling of certainty that never comes. Their mantra, whispered in the quiet desperation of their hearts every single morning, consists of two fatal words that have killed more dreams than any war or famine in history. Those words are, one day. On the other side of this line stands the rare minority, the 2% who own the world and their place within it. These are the captains of industry, the masterminds of innovation, the architects of destiny who look at the chaos of existence and impose their will upon it. They do not wait for the stars to align because they are too busy moving the stars themselves through the power of their own resolve. Their mantra is different. It is a declaration of power that shifts the very atmosphere of their lives. That mantra is day one. My friends, we are gathered here to dissect the anatomy of this great divide. The difference between the life you are currently suffering through and the life you dream of is not a matter of luck, it is not a matter of genetics, and it is not a matter of connection. It is a matter of a single, irrevocable decision that you have likely been avoiding for years. Waiting feels safe because it demands nothing of you in the present moment, but it is a slow poison that calcifies the spirit. Starting feels hard because it requires the breaking of inertia, but it is the only cure for the disease of mediocrity. The future does not arrive on a silver platter. It is forged in the fires of your daily actions, and it starts with what you do today. We must begin by understanding the psychology of the 98%, the group that Napoleon Hill famously categorized as the drifters. A drifter is a person who permits their mind to be influenced and controlled by circumstances outside of themselves. They have no definite major purpose, and because they have no destination, any wind can blow them off course. The drifter wakes up in the morning and immediately reacts to the world. They check the news to see how they should feel. They check their bank account to see what they can afford. They check the opinions of their neighbors to see what is socially acceptable. They are thermometers, merely reflecting the temperature of their environment, rather than thermostats which set the temperature. The tragedy of the drifter is not that they lack ability, for many drifters are brilliant, talented, and educated. The tragedy is that they lack the volition to start. They are trapped in the hypnotic rhythm of getting ready. They are always getting ready to start a business, getting ready to write a book, getting ready to change their health. They spend their lives preparing for a journey they never embark upon. They believe that there is a perfect moment in the future, a magical alignment of time, money, and energy where action will be easy. I am here to tell you with absolute certainty that this moment does not exist. The perfect time is a myth created by fear to justify inaction. The only time that exists is now. And now is always uncomfortable. Now is always filled with uncertainty. If you are waiting for the fear to vanish before you declare it is day one, you will wait until they put you in the grave. Let us analyze the seduction of the phrase one day. It is a comforting lie. When you say I will do it one day, you get a small hit of dopamine. You feel the satisfaction of the intention without paying the price of the action. It allows you to maintain the self-image of a person who is going to be successful, without actually doing the work of a successful person. It is a narcotic. It numbs the pain of your current dissatisfaction by promising a better future that you are not actively building. But nature keeps a strict balance sheet. You cannot cheat the law of cause and effect. If the cause is inaction, the effect is stagnation. Every time you say one day, you are actually casting a vote for your own irrelevance. You are telling your subconscious mind that your dreams are not urgent, that your purpose is optional, and that you are comfortable with mediocrity. Over time, this repeated suggestion hardens into a character trait. You become a person who talks but never walks. You become a library of potential that is never opened. The heavy price of this procrastination is not just financial failure. It is the erosion of self-respect. Deep down, you know you are betraying yourself. You know that you are capable of more. This internal conflict, this gap between who you are and who you could be, is the source of all anxiety and depression. The only way to close the gap, the only way to heal the mind, is to stop saying one day and start acting as if it is day one. Now let us look at the masters, the 2%. How do they operate? What is the mechanism of their power? The master understands that the hardest part of any endeavor is the start. In physics, we learn about the coefficient of static friction versus kinetic friction. It takes significantly more force to get a heavy object moving from a standstill than it does to keep it moving once it is rolling. The master respects this law. They know that the initial resistance is going to be immense. Their brain will scream at them. Their fears will generate 1,000 excuses. Their environment will try to hold them back. But they do not wait for the resistance to fade. They apply a burst of violent execution. They force the movement. They declare day one not because they feel ready, but because they refuse to wait any longer. They understand that action is not just the effect of motivation, it is the cause of motivation. You do not feel your way into acting. You act your way into feeling. When you take that first step, when you make that first call, when you write that first page, you break the static friction. You generate momentum, and momentum is the best friend of the master. Once you are in motion, the universe begins to assist you. Resources appear, ideas flow, confidence grows. But none of this happens while you are standing still. We must also confront the illusion of safety. The drifter chooses to wait for one day because it feels safe. They believe that by delaying they are avoiding risk. They are afraid of failure, afraid of criticism, afraid of losing what little they have. But this is a miscalculation of massive proportions. In a rapidly changing world, standing still is the most dangerous thing you can do. While you are waiting for the perfect time, the world is moving on. Skills are becoming obsolete. Opportunities are vanishing. Your youth and vigor are fading. By trying to avoid the risk of action, you are guaranteeing the certainty of obsolescence. There is no safety in stagnation. The only true security lies in your ability to produce, to create, to adapt, and to lead. And these abilities are only forged in the fire of action. When you declare it is day one, you are stepping into the arena. Yes, you might get hit. Yes, you might fail. But failure is not the opposite of success. It is a stepping stone to success. The master fails faster than the drifter tries. The master learns more in a week of day ones than the drifter learns in a lifetime of 1 days. By avoiding the pain of the start, you are denying yourself the growth that comes from the struggle. You are choosing to be a weakling in a world that demands strength. Consider the concept of cosmic habit force. Napoleon Hill taught that nature uses a force to make our thought patterns and behaviors permanent. If you drift, if you procrastinate, if you wait, cosmic habit force takes that pattern and locks it in. It becomes harder and harder to change. You are literally wiring your brain for failure. But the reverse is also true. If you develop the habit of immediate action, if you make it your standard to treat every new goal as day one, cosmic habit force will lock that into place. You will become a person who naturally, effortlessly moves toward achievement. Success becomes your default setting. But you must initiate the cycle. You must apply the initial force. You must wake up tomorrow morning, look in the mirror, and realize that no one is coming to save you. No one is coming to give you permission. The cavalry is not coming. You are the cavalry. The separation between the life you want and the life you have is the decision to stop waiting. It is the decision to kill the hopium addiction and replace it with the adrenaline of execution. Let us deeply examine the thief of time. We treat time as if it is infinite. We say, I will do it later, as if we have a contract with eternity. But you do not. Your time is a finite, non-renewable resource. Every second that ticks by is a piece of your life that is gone forever. The drifter spends time. The master invests time. When you say one day, you are spending your time on a fantasy. When you say day one, you are investing your time in a reality. Imagine if Thomas Edison had said, one day I will try to invent the light bulb. Imagine if Henry Ford had said, one day I will build a horseless carriage. The world we live in would be dark and slow. Civilization itself is built on the backs of men and women who refused to wait. They felt the urgency of their existence. They knew that they had a debt to pay to the Creator who gave them their talents, and the only way to pay that debt was to use those talents immediately and fully. You have a contribution to make. You have a song to sing, a business to build, a book to write. To delay it is an act of ingratitude. To delay it is to rob the world of the value you were sent here to provide. You must develop a sense of urgency. you must realize that later is a place where dreams go to die. There is a spiritual dimension to this great divide. It is the battle between the ego and the spirit. The ego loves one day. The ego loves to fantasize about being great, because in the fantasy, there is no risk of rejection. In the fantasy, you are perfect. But the moment you start day one, you enter the real world where things are messy, imperfect, and difficult. The ego hates this. It tries to protect you from the shame of being a beginner. It tells you, you're not ready. You need another degree. You need more money. But the spirit wants to grow. The spirit knows that we are here to expand, and expansion only happens through the resistance of action. When you choose day one, you are choosing the spirit over the ego. You are choosing humility. You are admitting that you are a beginner, that you might stumble, but you are willing to look foolish in the service of your potential. This humility is the gateway to mastery. You cannot learn if you think you already know. You cannot build if you are afraid to get your hands dirty. You must be willing to be bad at something long enough to become good at it. The drifter is too proud to be a beginner, so he never becomes a master. The master is willing to be a fool, so he eventually becomes a king. We must also discuss the architecture of excuses. The bridge between one day and day one is blocked by a wall of excuses. The drifter is a master architect of excuses. He can build a cathedral of reasons why he cannot start. I'm too old. I'm too young. I don't have the connections. The economy is bad. My parents didn't love me enough. These excuses may be factually true, but they are irrelevant to the law of success. Success does not care about your excuses. The market does not care about your childhood. The only thing that matters is what you do with what you have right now. The master burns the blueprints of his excuses. He looks at his limitations and says, "So what?" He adopts the philosophy of start where you are, use what you have, do what you can. He realizes that waiting for the perfect condition is a form of cowardice. Conditions are never perfect. If you wait for all the lights to be green before you leave the house, you will never leave the driveway. You must drive through the yellow lights. You must navigate the traffic. You must impose your will upon the chaos of the environment. Let us visualize the trajectory of these two paths over a lifetime. Take two people, identical in talent and opportunity. One chooses the path of one day. He delays. He comforts himself with distractions. 10 years pass. He is in the exact same place, but he is 10 years older, more cynical, more tired, and filled with a low-level resentment toward the world. He looks at others who have succeeded and calls them lucky. He dies with his song still inside him. Now take the other person. He chooses day one. He starts messy. He fails. He corrects course. He keeps moving. 10 years pass. He has built an empire. He has transformed his body. He has impacted thousands of lives. He looks back not with regret, but with the satisfaction of a warrior who fought the good fight. He dies empty, having poured everything he had into the world. Which ending do you want? The choice is not made at the end of your life. It is made right now, in the privacy of your own mind. It is made every time you choose to pick up the phone instead of putting it off. It is made every time you choose to go to the gym instead of sleeping in. It is the accumulation of these micro decisions that creates the macro result of destiny. This introduction is not just a speech, it is a wake-up call. It is a demand that you look at the calendar of your life and realize there are no more pages to waste. You are not rehearsing for a life. This is the performance. The cameras are rolling. The clock is ticking. What are you going to do? Are you going to sit in the dressing room preparing for a scene that never happens? Or are you going to step onto the stage and play your part with passion and intensity? The philosophy of day one is a philosophy of ownership. It is the realization that no one is coming to rescue you. No government, no savior, no lottery win. You are the rescue party. You are the architect. You are the captain. When you accept this, really accept it, a shift happens. The fear does not disappear, but it becomes irrelevant. The doubt does not vanish, but it is drowned out by the noise of your action. You become a force of nature. In the chapters that follow, we are going to break down the specific tools you need to maintain this day one mentality. We will look at how Edison used it to conquer failure. We will look at how Ford used it to rewrite the rules of industry. We will look at how you can use it to rewire your brain, silence your distractions, and build a definite chief aim that pulls you forward like a magnet. But all of these tools are useless if you do not make the primary decision right now. You must cross the line in the sand. You must leave the crowded land of one day and step into the sparse, challenging, exhilarating territory of day one. It is lonely at first. The air is thinner. The climb is steeper. But the view is spectacular. And the person you become on the climb is the person you were always meant to be. I want you to pause and feel the weight of this moment. This is not just another video. This is a fork in the road. You can close this video and go back to your old habits. You can go back to drifting. You can go back to telling yourself the comforting lie that you will start tomorrow. Or you can decide that the waiting ends here. You can decide that you are done with the excuses. You can decide that you are ready to pay the price of greatness. If you make that decision, then everything that follows in this lecture will be the blueprint for your empire. If you do not make that decision, then these words are merely entertainment. The choice is yours. The great divide is in front of you. Which side will you stand on? Let us now move deeper into the mechanics of this transformation. Let us examine the first great principle that allows a human being to move from inertia to action. Let us look at the power of choice and how one man used it to light up the world. We have crossed the great divide. We have left the land of one day behind. Now, we must understand the fundamental mechanism that keeps us in the land of day one. That mechanism is choice. Every morning, when your eyes open to the world, before your feet even touch the floor, you are presented with the most defining decision of your existence. It is not a decision about what you will eat, what you will wear, or what route you will take to work. It is a decision about the posture of your soul. Will today be another day of reaction, of drifting, of allowing the world to dictate your mood? Or will today be a day of creation, a day of volition, a decisive day one? Through my years of analyzing the lives of over 500 of the most successful men and women in America, one truth stands undeniable, carved in the granite of history. Greatness is never a matter of chance. It is the deliberate result of clear choices, consistently made under the pressure of adversity. Chance is the excuse of the fool. Choice is the weapon of the master. To understand the sheer raw power of choice, we must turn our gaze to Menlo Park, New Jersey, in the late 19th century. We must look at the man who literally illuminated the world, Thomas Alva Edison. When we think of Edison today, we think of the icon, the genius, the wizard. We see the result. But to understand the philosophy of day one, we must look at the process. We must look at the darkness before the light. Edison faced a challenge that would have crushed the spirit of an ordinary man. He sought to harness electricity to create a safe, practical, incandescent light. The scientific community said it was impossible. The laws of physics, as understood at the time, seemed to forbid it. But Edison had made a choice. He had a definite chief aim, and he refused to drift from it. Let us analyze the mathematics of failure. Edison failed not once, not twice, but thousands of times. 10,000 times, according to legend. Imagine the psychological weight of that number. 10,000 times he set up an experiment. 10,000 times he mixed the chemicals, blew the glass, carbonized the filament, and 10,000 times it failed, it burned out, it exploded, it did nothing. To the average mind, to the drifter, this is a clear signal from the universe to stop. The drifter says, I have tried, it didn't work. Therefore, it is impossible. The drifter chooses to interpret failure as a verdict on their worth. But Edison made a different choice, a radical choice. He chose to interpret failure as feedback. When a reporter asked him how it felt to fail 10,000 times, he famously replied, I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. This is not just a clever quote. It is a profound psychological strategy. It is the reframing of reality through the power of choice. Edison chose to see every failed filament not as a dead end, but as a process of elimination. He was narrowing down the possibilities. He was cornering the truth. Every failure brought him one step closer to the solution because he knew what the solution wasn't. This is the day one mentality. Every morning, after a disastrous failure the night before, Edison would wake up and declare it day one. He did not carry the emotional baggage of yesterday's defeat into today's laboratory. He wiped the slate clean. He chose to approach the problem with fresh eyes, with renewed enthusiasm, with a burning desire that was immune to discouragement. What if Mr. Edison had hesitated? What if, after the 5,000th failure, he had listened to the whisper of the ghost of fear? What if he had said, "Maybe the critics are right. Maybe I am wasting my life. One day, I will try again, but for now, I need a break"? If he had made that choice, humanity might still be stumbling in the darkness, literally and metaphorically. We might still be lighting our homes with kerosene and gas, choking on the fumes. The world we know today exists because one man refused to wait for one day. He refused to accept the consensus of the impossible. He chose, against all evidence to the contrary, to believe in his vision. We must understand that waiting for the perfect moment is a form of madness. It is like standing at a train station hoping for a train that has never been built, on a schedule that has never been written. The drifter waits for the perfect time. They wait until they have enough money. They wait until the kids are grown. They wait until they feel confident. They wait until the economy is booming. But the perfect time is a myth created by fear to justify inaction. The perfect time is strictly a hallucination. The only time is now. Conditions are never perfect. If you wait for all the lights to be green before you leave your driveway, you will never leave your driveway. You must drive through the yellow lights. You must navigate the traffic. You must build your empire in the rain, in the cold, in the dark. Because if you can build it there, it will stand forever. Life does not promise you a perfect beginning. It promises you only opportunity. And opportunity is often disguised as hard work. It wears overalls and looks like trouble. The drifter sees the trouble and runs away. The master sees the opportunity and runs toward it. Each sunrise presents you with a fresh blank canvas. It invites your courage and determination. These opportunities demand your immediate attention and decisive action. Waiting only weakens your resolve. It dims your inner fire. Understand clearly, the greatest risk in life is not failure. You can recover from failure. The greatest risk is the decision never made, the opportunity never seized, the dream never chased. That is the tragedy that cannot be undone. That is the regret that haunts the deathbed. I have met countless individuals paralyzed by indecision. They are intelligent, capable, and full of potential, but they are stuck in the analysis paralysis. They are overthinking. They are researching to the point of exhaustion. They are gathering more and more information, thinking that information will save them. But information is not power. It is only potential power. It becomes power only when organized into definite plans of action. You do not need more information. You need more courage. You need to make a choice. Indecision is a disease. It rots the will. It creates a vacuum where fear rushes in. The moment you make a definitive decision, you close the door on fear. You cut off the possibility of retreat. As we discussed with the burn the bridges concept, the mind functions at its highest capacity only when there is no turning back. Let us look at the urgency of now. Every moment spent waiting steals away your most precious resource, time. Money can be lost and earned again. Health can be lost and restored. But time is the currency of life, and once it is spent, it is gone forever. You cannot buy back yesterday. You cannot negotiate with the clock. The drifter treats time as if it is infinite. They squander hours on trivialities, on gossip, on entertainment that numbs the mind. The master treats time as if it is scarce. They have a sense of urgency. They walk faster. They decide quicker. They act immediately. Successful people recognize the immediate necessity of taking determined, focused steps toward their goals. They know that later is a code word for never. Choosing day one means embracing your dreams with unwavering commitment and burning enthusiasm. It is not a lukewarm decision. It is a decision made with the heat of a blast furnace. It means acknowledging that each action taken today becomes a building block for tomorrow's achievement. Your future is not something that happens to you. It is something that is constructed by you, brick by brick, choice by choice. Every email you send, every page you write, every rep you lift, every dollar you save, these are the bricks. If you lay no bricks today, you have no wall tomorrow. It is that simple. The drifter hopes for a wall to magically appear. The master lays the bricks. Consider the concept of faith in action. You must take action in faith, even when the outcome is uncertain. This is the hardest part. The ego wants a guarantee. It wants to know that if it expends effort, it will get a reward. But life offers no guarantees. Edison had no guarantee that the light bulb would work. He had only his faith and his effort. He had to work for years without a paycheck of success. This requires a spiritual stamina. It requires you to trust that the law of compensation is real, that no effort is ever lost, that every seed you plant will eventually harvest, even if you cannot see the sprout yet. You must act as if it is impossible to fail. You must act as if the universe is rigged in your favor. When you act with this kind of boldness, unseen forces come to your aid. Coincidences happen. The right people show up, but they only show up after you have moved. The habit of immediate action, practiced diligently, transforms your ambitions into concrete reality. Decisiveness is a hallmark of great leaders and achievers. Napoleon Hill analyzed 25,000 people and found that lack of decision was near the top of the list of the 30 major causes of failure. Procrastination is the twin of indecision. They go together. Where one is found, the other is close at hand. Kill this pair before they kill your chances of success. Henry Ford was known for his habit of reaching decisions quickly and changing them slowly, if at all. The drifter reaches decisions very slowly and changes them frequently and quickly. Be like Ford. Make the call. Sign the contract. Start the project. Even if it is the wrong decision, the act of deciding builds your power. You can always correct a moving ship. You cannot steer a stationary one. Henry Ford once said, "You cannot build a reputation on what you are going to do." Read that again. The world does not care about your intentions. It does not care about your plans. It does not care about your one-day list. It cares about what you have done. It rewards execution. The marketplace pays for value delivered, not value promised. If you want to build a reputation, if you want to leave a legacy, you must move from the realm of thought to the realm of things. You must manifest your ideas. You must birth them into the physical world through the labor of action. The world rewards those who act boldly, those who courageously mark today as day one, seizing each opportunity with passionate intensity. Let us discuss momentum. Momentum is the best friend of the master. It is the force that makes hard things easy. Pushing a car from a dead stop is exhausting. Keeping a moving car rolling is easy. The hardest part of any project is the start. It is the first 5 minutes. It is the day one. The resistance is highest at the beginning. The gravity of mediocrity is pulling you down. But once you break that static friction, once you get moving, momentum takes over. You start to enjoy the work. You start to see results. The results fuel more action. It becomes a virtuous cycle. But you must generate the initial thrust. You must be the engine. You cannot wait for inspiration to strike. You must strike the match of action to create the fire of inspiration. So, how do we apply this? Rise each morning with purpose. Do not wake up like an accident. Wake up like a mission. Know clearly what you must accomplish today. Do not have a to-do list of 50 things. Have a must-do list of 3 things. Break your larger goals into actionable steps. A goal like build a business is terrifying. It is too big. It paralyzes you. But a step like call 3 potential clients is manageable. It is doable. Refuse to postpone the vital actions that move you closer to your dreams. Eat the frog. Do the hardest thing first. When you conquer the hardest task early in the day, you walk with the swagger of a winner for the rest of the day. Remember, procrastination and delay are thieves. They are not your friends. They are stealing your life. They are stealing the wealth you could have earned. They are stealing the joy you could have felt. They are stealing the example you could have been to your children. Get angry at procrastination. Treat it like an intruder in your home. Kick it out. Choose decisively. Act immediately. Let each day carry you closer to the extraordinary life that awaits your decisive action. We must also address the fear of imperfection. Many people wait for day one because they are afraid of doing it wrong. They are perfectionists. But perfectionism is just fear in a tuxedo. It is a defense mechanism. It says, if I don't do it perfectly, I won't do it at all, so I can't be judged. This is the logic of the loser. The winner knows that version 1 is better than version none. Edison's first light bulbs were not perfect. They lasted for minutes, but they were a start. You must be willing to be bad at something long enough to get good at it. You must be willing to stumble. You must be willing to produce messy work, ugly drafts, and awkward attempts. This is the price of entry. Embrace imperfection. It means you are in the arena, not in the stands. Let us look at the compound effect of choice. One choice seems small. You choose to read 10 pages instead of watching TV. Does it change your life that night? No. You choose to eat a salad instead of a burger. Do you lose weight that hour? No. This is why people quit. The feedback loop is delayed. But if you make that choice every day for a year, the result is massive. You have read 15 books. You have lost 20 pounds. Your life has transformed. The philosophy of day one is about trusting the compound effect. It is about understanding that small, smart choices plus consistency plus time equals radical difference. The drifter underestimates the small choice. The master reveres it. Today, let there be no doubt or hesitation. I am calling you out. I am challenging you. Embrace this moment right now as the true day one of your life's greatest achievement. Not tomorrow, not Monday, not New Year's Day. Today, be courageous, be bold, be relentless. Success favors the determined soul who boldly chooses action over delay. It flees from the timid, it hides from the hesitant, but it runs into the arms of the bold. Begin today. Your future self is waiting for you. Imagine that person. Imagine the version of you 5 years from now who has achieved the dream. That person is looking back at you right now, in this moment, pleading with you to start. They are saying, please, do not make me wait any longer. Please do not let me die in the realm of what if. Give me life. Give me breath. Take the step. Your future self awaits eagerly, watching for the extraordinary results your decisive actions will yield. Do not disappoint them. Do not disappoint the potential that the Creator has placed within you. The power of choice is the greatest gift you possess. It is the one thing that no one can take away from you. You can lose your money, your job, your freedom, but you can never lose your power to choose your attitude and your action. Viktor Frankl proved this in the concentration camps. If he could choose his response in the midst of hell, you can choose your response in the midst of your comfort. So, here is your assignment for Chapter 1. I want you to identify one thing. Just one thing that you have been putting off for one day. Maybe it is writing the first chapter of your book. Maybe it is joining the gym. Maybe it is having a difficult conversation. I want you to do it today. Not the whole thing, but the first step. Make the call. Write the paragraph. Put on the shoes. Break the seal. Cross the line. Declare to the universe, I am awake. I am moving. I am here. When you do this, you will feel a shift in your chest. You will feel the heavy weight of procrastination lift off your shoulders. You will feel the spark of self-respect return. You will realize that you are not a victim. You are a generator. You generate action. You generate reality. This is the power of choice. This is the lesson of Edison. This is the foundation of all greatness. Lay this brick today, and tomorrow we will lay another. And soon we will have a castle. Now, as we move to the next chapter, we must ask, once we have chosen to act, where are we going? Action without direction is just noise. We need a map. We need a compass. We need to define our purpose with the clarity of a diamond. Let us explore the second principle of the philosophy of day one, defining your purpose clearly. We have made the choice. We have declared day one. We have ignited the engine of action. But now we face a critical question. Where are we going? A ship with the most powerful engines in the world, fueled by the most potent coal, staffed by the most energetic crew, will still be lost at sea if it does not have a compass. It will burn its fuel sailing in circles. It will exhaust its crew fighting waves that lead nowhere. Eventually, it will become a derelict, a ghost ship drifting on the tides of chance. This is the tragic fate of the man who possesses ambition but lacks direction. He works hard, but he works aimlessly. He is busy, but he is not productive. To avoid this fate, we must master the second great principle of success, defining your purpose clearly. Purpose acts as the North Star for every successful journey. It illuminates the path through life's uncertain landscapes. In my lifelong study of successful individuals from the titans of industry to the masters of art, I have discovered a single powerful truth. Clarity of purpose distinguishes achievers from dreamers. The dreamer wishes for success, but cannot define what success looks like. The achiever knows exactly what they want, down to the decimal point, down to the date, down to the feeling of the fabric on the victory suit. Without clearly defined objectives, your efforts disperse aimlessly, drifting like leaves carried helplessly by the wind. Energy without focus is wasted heat. Energy with focus is a laser beam. Consider the life of Walt Disney. His story offers a profound example of purpose realized. Today we see the empire, the parks, the movies, the merchandise, we see the magic, but we forget the man who sat in a garage with nothing but a mouse and a vision. Walt Disney did not start with money. He did not start with connections. He started with a definite major purpose that was so clear in his mind it was almost hallucinatory. He envisioned a world where imagination inspired millions. He did not simply wish vaguely for a successful entertainment company. He saw Disneyland before a single shovel hit the dirt. He saw the castle. He saw the happiness on the children's faces. There is a famous story about the opening of Epcot Center years after Walt had passed away. A reporter turned to Walt's brother Roy Disney and said, "It's a shame Walt didn't live to see this." Roy smiled and replied, "Sir, you are mistaken. Walt saw this. That is why we are seeing it today. This is the power of clarity." Walt saw it in the theater of his mind with such high-definition precision that the physical manifestation was simply a matter of time. He did not wait passively for fortune's favor. Instead, he defined success explicitly, committing himself fully to his vision. His clarity was his strength. When bankers laughed at the idea of a theme park, calling it Disney's Folly, Walt didn't blink. Why? Because he wasn't guessing. He was building from a blueprint that already existed in his consciousness. Now, turn the spotlight on yourself. Reflect deeply upon your own life. What is your definitive purpose? Most people, if asked this question, will give a vague, fluffy answer. I want to be rich. I want to be happy. I want to make a difference. These are not purposes. These are platitudes. They are weak wishes. The universe cannot fulfill a vague request. If you go to a restaurant and tell the waiter, "Bring me some food," you will get whatever the chef wants to get rid of. If you tell the waiter, "Bring me the steak, medium rare, with a side of asparagus," you get exactly what you ordered. Life is the kitchen. You are the customer. You must order with precision. Ask yourself these crucial questions. Where do I envision myself in 3 years exactly? Not in a better place, but specifically where? What does your house look like? What does your bank account balance say? Who are you waking up next to? What work are you doing from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m.? What legacy do I wish to create and leave behind? If you died today, what would your obituary say? If you are not happy with that obituary, rewrite it now. What precise steps must I undertake to reach these desired outcomes? Your answers will shape the trajectory of your journey, providing both a compass and a map for your life's voyage. Without clearly articulated goals, you become akin to a ship set adrift without a compass, directionless, and at the mercy of life's turbulent storms. Clarity of purpose is your anchor. It grounds your decisions. When you know exactly where you are going, decision-making becomes easy. Does this activity help me reach my goal? If yes, do it. If no, discard it. It simplifies your life. It eliminates the clutter. It acts as a filter for distraction. The man without a purpose is easily distracted because everything seems equally important or equally unimportant. The man with a purpose is immune to distraction because he has no time for anything that does not serve the mission. He develops a tunnel vision for success. Every successful person I have studied cultivated an unwavering sense of purpose. Andrew Carnegie wanted to manufacture steel cheaper and better than anyone else. Henry Ford wanted to democratize the automobile so every family could afford one. Thomas Edison wanted to illuminate the world. Notice the specificity. They didn't just want business success. They had a specific mission. This mission guided their every choice and fueled relentless perseverance. Purpose generates courage in adversity. When the road gets hard, and it will, a vague wish will crumble. A burning purpose will endure. If you are just trying to make money, you will quit when the market crashes. If you are trying to change the way the world communicates, you will persist through the crash. Purpose gives pain a meaning. Understand this. Your purpose is your greatest asset. It is more valuable than your capital, your real estate, or your intellect. Define it clearly. Write it down. Napoleon Hill taught that a goal not written down is merely a wish. The act of writing is the first step of materialization. It is the bridge between the spiritual realm of thought and the physical realm of things. Visualize it vividly. Close your eyes and run the movie of your success. Chase it passionately. Allow your purpose to inspire each action, informing every decision and compelling unwavering commitment. Every day spent without clear objectives is a day squandered, a missed opportunity to advance toward your dreams. It is a day of drifting. And remember, the habit of drifting leads only to the shores of regret. The world favors those who know precisely what they want. Have you ever noticed this? When a person walks down the street with a brisk pace and eyes fixed on a destination, people step aside. They make a path. But if a person meanders, looking confused, people bump into them. The world steps aside for the man who knows where he is going. Your success depends upon your capacity to clearly define your targets and relentlessly pursue them, no matter the challenges encountered. Thus, today, embrace your purpose with absolute clarity. Stop being vague. Stop being shy about what you want. Be bold. Be specific. Do you want $1 million? Say it. Do you want to cure a disease? Say it. Do you want to be the best father in the world? Say it. Visualize your goals in explicit detail, letting the clarity of your vision inspire immediate and consistent action. Create concrete steps toward achievement. Meticulously plan your pathway. A goal without a plan is just a dream. A plan without action is just a piece of paper. But a goal plus plan plus action equals destiny. Remember, vague ambitions yield vague results. Fuzzy targets get fuzzy shots. Clearly articulated goals produce definitive achievements. Your life, your actions, and ultimately your legacy are reflections of your clarity of purpose. Embrace this profound truth, allowing it to guide every decision and empower every effort. The greatness you desire is attainable, but only through precise clarity and purposeful action. Let us discuss the mechanism of the subconscious. Your subconscious mind is a servo mechanism, like a guided missile. A missile needs coordinates. If you give it the coordinates, it will correct its course 1,000 times to hit the target. If you do not give it coordinates, it will fly erratically and crash. Your subconscious is waiting for coordinates. When you define your purpose clearly, I will earn $100,000. By December 31st, you are programming the missile. Your subconscious goes to work. It wakes you up with ideas. It draws your attention to relevant information. It gives you energy. But if you say, I want to have more money, the missile has no target. It stays on the launch pad. You must be the programmer of your own mind. We must also address the fear of specificity. Many people are afraid to set specific goals because they are afraid of failing. They think, if I don't set a specific target, I can't miss it. This is a defense mechanism. It protects the ego, but it kills the potential. By keeping your goals vague, you are pre-planning your mediocrity. You are ensuring that you will never feel the sting of failure, but you are also ensuring you will never feel the thrill of victory. The master is willing to be specific. He is willing to say, this is the target. If he misses, he adjusts his aim and shoots again. He does not lower the target, he increases his skill. Let us look at the concept of the chief aim. Napoleon Hill advised writing out your definite chief aim and reading it aloud twice a day. Why? Because repetition is the language of the subconscious. You must brainwash yourself. Yes, brainwash. Your brain is already being washed by society, by the news, by advertisers. You might as well wash it yourself with your own soap. Clean out the dirt of doubt and scrub it with the clarity of purpose. I am so happy and grateful now that... Fill in the blank. Read it until you believe it. Read it until it becomes a part of your cellular structure. Consider the filter of purpose. When you have a clear purpose, it acts as a filter for your reality. You stop seeing obstacles, you start seeing stepping stones. If your purpose is to build a business and you lose your job, you don't see it as a tragedy. You see it as the universe kicking you out of the nest so you can fly. If your purpose is to get fit and you get injured, you don't give up. You find a way to train around the injury. Purpose changes the meaning of events. It turns, "Why is this happening to me?" into "How does this help me?" We must also talk about evolution of purpose. Your purpose is not carved in stone. It is carved in your heart. It can evolve. As you grow, your purpose will grow. Walt Disney started with cartoons, then moved to movies, then to theme parks, then to urban planning, Epcot. His purpose expanded as his capacity expanded. Do not be afraid to start with a small purpose. Just start. As you climb the mountain, you will see further. The view from the peak reveals new peaks, but you must climb the first mountain to see the second. Let us return to the practical application. I want you to take a sheet of paper, right now, or as soon as this video ends. Write "My definite major purpose" at the top. Then, write exactly what you want. Be greedy. Be ambitious. Be honest. Do not write what your parents want for you. Do not write what society thinks is reasonable. Write what sets your soul on fire. Then, write what you are willing to give in return. There is no such thing as something for nothing. What service will you render? What sacrifice will you make? Then, write the date by which you will achieve it. Finally, write the plan. It doesn't have to be a perfect plan, just the first few steps. Sign this paper. It is a contract with yourself. Keep it in your pocket. Read it in the morning. Read it at night. When you touch it, let it remind you that you are not a drifter. You are a man or woman on a mission. You have a destination. And because you have a destination, you are already halfway there. This clarity will give you a magnetic quality. People are drawn to those who know where they are going. You will attract partners, employees, and investors. They want to be part of a story that is going somewhere. If you are wandering, no one wants to follow you. If you are marching, everyone wants to join the parade. Be the leader of your own parade. Define your purpose boldly today. Commit unwaveringly, and watch as the universe conspires to help you achieve your dreams. The stars do not align for the wishful, they align for the willful. Be willful. Be clear. Be definite. As we close this chapter, remember the lighthouse. The storm may rage, the fog may roll in, the waves may crash, but the lighthouse does not move. It does not dim its light. It knows its job, to shine. Your purpose is your lighthouse. Let it shine through the fog of your doubts. Let it guide you home to the greatness that belongs to you. Now, once we have the choice, Chapter 1, and the map, Chapter 2, we will inevitably encounter storms. The journey is not a straight line. We will need armor to survive the hits. We will need the ability to bounce back. In the next chapter, we will discuss the magic of resilience, the alchemy that turns wounds into wisdom. We have made the choice. We have defined the purpose. But now, we must descend from the mountain of vision into the valley of reality. It is here, in the mud and the blood of daily existence, that the dreamer meets his greatest adversary, adversity itself. The road to success is not a straight, paved highway lined with cheering crowds. It is a winding, treacherous path filled with thorns, pitfalls, dead ends, and shadows. To navigate it, you need more than intellect. You need more than talent. You need the magic of resilience. Resilience, in its truest form, is the alchemy that transforms setbacks into stepping stones. It is the philosopher's stone that turns the lead of pain into the gold of wisdom. In my many years studying the principles of success, I have found that resilience is not merely a desirable quality, it is an absolute necessity. It is the invisible force that allows you to rise when others remain fallen. It is the voice that whispers one more time when the world screams give up. Every failure, every defeat, every hardship, these are not signs to retreat. They are divine instruments of instruction. They are the hammer and the anvil used by the Creator to forge the steel of your character. A man without resilience is like a glass hammer. The first time he strikes a hard problem, he shatters. A man with resilience is like water. You can strike him, freeze him, boil him, but he simply changes form and continues to flow. Let us take a lesson from the life of Abraham Lincoln. If ever there was a human being who had every rational reason to surrender to despair, it was Mr. Lincoln. His life was a symphony of sorrow. He was born into poverty in a dirt-floor cabin. He lost his mother at an early age, feeling the cold sting of death while still a child. He failed in business, not once, but twice, leaving him with a debt so massive he called it the national debt, which took him years of toil to repay. He lost the woman he loved, Anne Rutledge, and reportedly walked the woods in a state of madness, consumed by grief. He suffered a nervous breakdown. He was defeated for the state legislature. He was defeated for Congress. He was defeated for the Senate. He was defeated for vice president. To the ordinary observer, looking at his resume of losses, Lincoln was a failure, a loser, a man cursed by fate. But Mr. Lincoln was not ordinary. He possessed a burning desire that could not be extinguished by the winds of misfortune. He possessed a resilience that defied logic. He understood that defeat was not a dead end, but a detour. He understood that failure was not the opposite of success, but a necessary part of it. He did not define himself by his events. He defined himself by his response to those events. Each failure became fuel for his growth. Each loss carved out a deeper capacity for empathy and wisdom within his soul. It was this very suffering that prepared him to lead a fractured nation through its darkest hour. Only a man who knew the depths of personal hell could guide a country through the hell of civil war. Your own journey will be marked by obstacles. This is not a prediction, it is a certainty. Life, by its very nature, will test your determination. It will throw curveballs. It will break your heart. It will empty your bank account. But within each difficulty lies a powerful truth. These challenges are not sent to destroy you. They are sent to prepare you. They refine your spirit. They strengthen your will. They elevate your character. When you face hardship, know that life is asking you one simple, brutal question. How much do you want it? The drifter answers, not enough to suffer for it, and quits. The master answers, I want it more than I fear the pain, and keeps going. Resilience is the answer to that question. It is the quiet strength that keeps you standing when the storms of life rage around you. It is the determination that says, I will try again, when the world says, it's over. And make no mistake, resilience is not born from comfort. You cannot learn resilience in a spa. You cannot learn it when things are going your way. It is forged in the fire of difficulty. It is cultivated in moments of despair when giving up seems easier than going on. It is a muscle that must be torn before it can grow. If you have had an easy life, you are likely weak. If you have had a hard life, you have the raw materials for immense power. Do not resent your struggles. Reverence them. They are your gym. The most successful individuals I have known, Carnegie, Ford, Edison, did not enjoy uninterrupted paths to victory. Quite the contrary. They encountered defeat after defeat. Carnegie faced labor strikes and financial panics. Ford went bankrupt before he built his empire. Edison watched his laboratory burn to the ground at the age of 67. Yet, their resilience propelled them forward. They understood a timeless principle I have repeated often. Every adversity, every failure, every heartache carries with it the seed of an equal or greater benefit. Let us analyze this seed of benefit. It is a profound concept. Nature demands a balance. When something is taken from you, a space is created for something new to enter. When you lose a job, the seed of a better career is planted. When a relationship ends, the seed of self-discovery is planted. When you fail in business, the seed of strategic wisdom is planted. But, and this is the critical point, the seed does not grow automatically. It must be found. It must be watered with faith and nourished with persistence. The drifter looks at the failure and sees only the loss. The master looks at the failure and searches for the seed. Where is the benefit? He asks. What did I learn? How did this make me stronger? You must begin to see each failure not as an end, but as a message. It is feedback from the universe. It is reality telling you, not this way, try another way. Ask yourself, what lesson does this setback offer? How can I grow from this difficulty? What new direction is being revealed? The answers to these questions are the bricks with which you build the foundation of your ultimate success. If Lincoln had won those early elections, He might have become a mediocre politician in a peaceful time, forgotten by history. His failures steered him to the presidency at the exact moment he was needed. His resilience aligned him with destiny. Let resilience become your constant companion. Let it shape your mindset so profoundly that every defeat becomes a doorway to deeper wisdom. When you fall, and you will fall, do not curse the ground. Instead, bless the lesson. Stand up, dust yourself off, fix your tie, and move forward with greater resolve. Remember, the strongest oak tree in the forest is not the one protected from the wind, but the one that stands in the open storm. The wind tries to knock it down, but the tree responds by forcing its roots deeper into the earth. The storm makes the tree stronger. You are the oak. The problems of your life are the wind. Let them force your roots deeper into the soil of your purpose. Let us discuss the psychology of the comeback. Resilience is not just about surviving, it is about bouncing back higher. This is what Nassim Taleb calls anti-fragility. Fragile things break under stress. Robust things resist stress. Anti-fragile things gain from stress. The human spirit is designed to be anti-fragile. When you break a bone, it heals stronger at the break. When you tear a muscle, it grows back larger. When you break your ego, your true self emerges with more power. You must adopt the identity of the comeback kid. You must love the story of the underdog. When you are down, tell yourself, this is just the part of the movie where the hero gets beaten up so the victory at the end is sweeter. Frame your suffering as a necessary plot point in your epic. We must also address the illusion of permanence. When we are in pain, the drifter mind thinks, this will last forever. This is a lie. Nothing lasts forever. The storm will pass. The night will end. The winter will turn to spring. This is the rhythm of the cosmos. Resilience is simply the ability to wait out the winter while preparing for the spring. It is the ability to hold your breath while you are underwater, knowing that you will eventually surface. Lincoln suffered deep depression, but he knew that. This too shall pass. He endured the darkness because he believed in the dawn. You must cultivate this long-term perspective. Do not make permanent decisions based on temporary emotions. Do not quit a lifetime dream because of a bad month. Consider the Stockdale paradox. Admiral James Stockdale was a prisoner of war in Vietnam for 7 years. He was tortured. He had no idea if he would ever see his family again. When asked who didn't make it out, he said, the optimists. The ones who said, we will be out by Christmas. Christmas would come and go. Then they said, we will be out by Easter. Easter would come and go. Eventually they died of a broken heart. Stockdale survived because he embraced a duality. He retained the absolute faith that he would prevail in the end, regardless of the difficulties, and at the same time, he confronted the most brutal facts of his current reality. This is true resilience. It is not blind optimism, it is grounded faith. You must look at your problems and say, this is hell, this is hard, but I will not die here. I will walk through this until I get to the other side. Resilience also requires emotional flexibility. You must be able to feel the pain without becoming the pain. Cry if you must. Scream if you must. Lincoln wept openly. He told jokes to relieve his melancholy. He was human. Resilience does not mean being a robot. It means processing the emotion and then returning to the mission. Do not bottle it up until you explode. Release it and then refocus. Use your mastermind group for support. Even the strongest man needs a shoulder to lean on sometimes. Asking for help is not weakness. It is a strategic move to restore your resilience reserves. Let us look at the compound effect of resilience. Every time you survive a hardship, you put a deposit in your confidence bank. You prove to yourself, I can handle this. The next time a problem comes, you are less afraid because you have a track record of survival. You begin to develop a callus on your soul. Not a callus that makes you unfeeling, but a callus that protects you from the friction of the world. You become harder to offend. You become harder to discourage. You become harder to stop. Eventually, you reach a point where you are unmesswithable. The world throws a punch and you just smile. You say, is that all you got? This is the swagger of the resilient. I want you to think about the legacy of resilience. Your resilience is not just for you. It is for your children. It is for your community. When they see you stand back up after being knocked down, they learn that it is possible. You are teaching them how to live. Lincoln's resilience saved the Union. Your resilience might save your family's future. It might inspire a stranger. It might change the trajectory of your lineage. You have a responsibility to be strong, not just for yourself, but for those who are watching. So, how do we practice resilience daily? We practice voluntary discomfort. We do not wait for life to hit us. We hit ourselves. We take cold showers. We fast. We exercise until failure. We have difficult conversations. We expose ourselves to small stressors so that we are ready for the big ones. We train for the fight before the fight begins. This is the way of the warrior. The drifter seeks comfort and is destroyed by pain. The master seeks challenge and is strengthened by it. Let us return to the image of Abraham Lincoln. Imagine him sitting in the telegraph office, waiting for news from the front lines, his face gray with fatigue, his heart heavy with the death of thousands. He could have quit. He could have negotiated a peace that would have split the nation and preserved slavery. It would have been the easy path, but he refused. He held the line. He bore the weight. And because he held on, the Union was preserved. Freedom was expanded. History was written. You may not be fighting a civil war, but you are fighting a war for your potential. You are fighting a war against mediocrity. You are fighting a war for your dreams. Do not retreat. Do not surrender. Hold the line. When you are tired, rest, but do not quit. When you are hurt, heal, but do not quit. When you are discouraged, pray, but do not quit. Your challenges are not punishment. They are preparation. They are proof that your dream is significant enough to require growth, and growth demands discomfort. Welcome it. Rise to meet it. Start today with the unwavering belief that your resilience will transform every possibility into certainty. Let your struggles be the soil in which your greatness takes root. The lotus flower blooms from the mud. No mud, no lotus. No struggle, no success. Let every hardship strengthen your conviction. Let every obstacle become an invitation to evolve. For in the end, it is not the absence of failure that defines the successful. It is their refusal to be defeated by it. Be that person. Be resilient. Be the one who is still standing when the smoke clears. And know this truth, as I have come to know it. Your dreams are not just possible, they are inevitable, if you possess the resilience to see them through. The universe cannot deny a person who simply will not take no for an answer. As we close this chapter, I want you to make a promise to yourself. A promise that no matter how hard it gets, you will not abandon yourself. You will be your own best friend in the dark. You will keep the flame of hope burning. Now, as we stand back up, dusted off and stronger, we need a fuel to keep us moving forward. Resilience keeps us from quitting. But what propels us to win? What is the engine that drives the machine of success? It is belief. Specifically, self-belief. In the next chapter, we will explore the influence of self-belief and how two bicycle mechanics used it to defy gravity and change the world. My friends, pause with me for a moment. You are learning the secrets of flight, the power of belief that lifted the Wright brothers. But remember Napoleon Hill's greatest principle, the master mind. No mind is complete by itself. Even the Wright brothers had each other. You need a community that speaks this language of power, or the gravity of the world will pull you back down. If you are committed to making today your day one, I invite you to make a small but significant decision right now. Click the subscribe button below. By doing so, you are not just following a channel, you are joining a digital alliance of the top 2%. Do not walk this path alone. Join us. Let us build this legacy together. Now, let us discover the fuel that keeps this engine running. Passion. We have chosen our path. We have defined our purpose. We have armored ourselves with resilience. But now we must discuss the engine that powers the entire machine of human achievement. There exists at the very core of every triumphant man or woman a force so powerful, so unfailing, that it becomes the bridge between the invisible world of dreams and the material world of reality. That force is self-belief. It is the silent architect of all enduring success, the invisible hand behind every skyscraper that pierces the clouds, every innovation that changes our lives, and every empire ever built by human hands. Without it, the greatest plan is merely a piece of paper. With it, The humblest plan becomes a revolution. You see, doubt is a cunning thief. It does not shout, it whispers, it does not demand, it suggests. It sows quiet seeds of hesitation until a garden of inaction grows where dreams once flourished. I have seen men of great intellect paralyzed by uncertainty, starving in the midst of plenty because they could not believe in their own right to eat. Conversely, I have seen men of modest ability, men with no formal education or social standing, ascend to heights unimagined simply because they possessed an unshakable conviction that they could. They did not know enough to know they couldn't, so they did. To understand the raw physics of belief, we must turn our gaze to Dayton, Ohio, at the turn of the 20th century. We must look at two brothers who defied the consensus of history, Orville and Wilbur Wright. These were not men born into wealth or privilege. They were not professors of physics at a prestigious university. They were bicycle mechanics. They spent their days fixing chains and patching tires. By all logical standards, they had no business attempting to solve the greatest riddle of the ages: human flight. For thousands of years, men had looked at the birds and envied them. The greatest minds in history, Leonardo da Vinci, Sir Isaac Newton, had pondered flight and failed. The United States government had spent significant sums of money funding Samuel Langley, a brilliant scientist with all the resources of the Smithsonian Institution, to build a flying machine. Langley had the money, the team, and the press. The Wright brothers had a bicycle shop and a dream. But the Wright brothers had something Langley did not: a fanatic, burning, obsessive belief that they could unlock the secret. Consider the psychology of the impossible. When the Wright brothers began their experiments, the general consensus of the scientific community was that heavier-than-air flight was impossible. Leading experts published papers proving mathematically that it couldn't be done. To attempt it was considered a sign of madness. Imagine the psychological pressure. Everyone you respect, everyone in authority is telling you that you are chasing a ghost. The ghost of fear whispers, "You are just bicycle mechanics. Who are you to challenge the laws of physics?" But Orville and Wilbur did not listen to the world. They listened to the voice within. They possessed a mental ear that was tuned to the frequency of possibility. They visualized themselves in the air so vividly that their subconscious minds accepted it as a fact before it ever happened. They did not wait for evidence. They became the evidence. This is the crucial distinction. The drifter says, "I will believe it when I see it." The master says, "I will see it when I believe it." Belief is the lens that brings the invisible into focus. Let us analyze the mechanism of faith. How does belief actually change reality? It is not magic. It is mechanics. When you believe something is possible, your brain acts differently. It stops looking for reasons why it won't work and starts looking for ways to make it work. It activates the creative imagination. When the Wright brothers crashed, and they crashed often, they didn't see it as proof of impossibility. They saw it as data. Their belief acted as a filter that stripped the failure of its emotional weight and left only the mechanical lesson. The wing warped too much. We need a rudder. Belief allowed them to persist through the valley of death where others would have quit. Langley, the government-funded rival, quit the moment his machine crashed into the Potomac River. Why? Because his belief was tied to his reputation. He feared ridicule more than he desired flight. The Wright brothers feared nothing but staying on the ground. Their belief was tied to the vision itself, not their ego. When you believe in the vision more than you care about your image, you become dangerous. You become unstoppable. Let this be your reminder. No ridicule, no rejection, no failure can defeat the man who believes. Self-belief is the starting point of all riches. Before $1 is earned, before one brick is laid, belief must be planted in the mind. It must take root. It must be watered with affirmation. It must be protected from the weeds of doubt. It must grow until it becomes a giant oak that no storm can uproot. You must reach a point of automatic faith, where you no longer have to try to believe. You simply know. You must understand that your mind is a workshop. Whatever you feed into it consistently, your subconscious will begin to shape and mold into reality. This is the law of autosuggestion. If you feed your mind thoughts of weakness, "I can't," "it's too hard," "I'm not smart enough," your subconscious will take those orders and create circumstances that prove you right. It will sabotage your efforts. It will make you stutter in the interview. It will make you hesitate at the crucial moment. But if you feed your mind thoughts of power, I can, I will, I am. Your subconscious will move heaven and earth to validate that belief. Think of the placebo effect. In medicine, we know that if you give a patient a sugar pill but tell them it is a powerful cure, a significant percentage will get better. Their belief activates the body's own healing mechanisms. Self-belief is the placebo effect applied to success. When you believe you are a winner, you stand taller. You speak with more authority. You take more risks. And because of these behaviors, you actually win. You trick reality into aligning with your delusion until the delusion becomes the truth. The Wright brothers placebo-ed themselves into the sky. But doubt? Doubt is the silent killer. It masquerades as logic. It disguises itself as humility. It says, be realistic. Don't get your hopes up. And in obeying it, dreams are buried before they ever take flight. Realistic is the most dangerous word in the English language. It is a fence built by the mediocre to keep the ambitious in the pen. Was it realistic to cross the Alps with elephants? No. Was it realistic to light the world with a glass bulb? No. Was it realistic to fly in a machine heavier than air? No. Realism builds nothing. Belief builds everything. So, how do we build this inner citadel of belief? How do we become like the Wright brothers when we feel like frauds? We use the principle of acting as if, which we discussed, but we deepen it with evidence stacking. You must prove to yourself that you can trust yourself. Start with small promises. I will wake up at 6 a.m. Do it. I will read 10 pages. Do it. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you lay a brick in the wall of your belief. You look in the mirror and say, I am a person who does what they say. Over time, this wall becomes a fortress. You must also engage in mental rehearsal. The Wright brothers flew thousands of times in their minds before they flew at Kitty Hawk. You must do the same. Close your eyes, see yourself achieving your goal. Feel the emotions, hear the applause, smell the success. Your nervous system cannot tell the difference between a vivid visualization and a real experience. If you rehearse success, your body will be primed for it. When the moment comes, you will not be anxious. You will be experiencing déjà vu. You will have been there before. We must also talk about the environment of belief. Belief is fragile in the beginning. It is like a candle flame. If you expose it to the wind of cynical friends, negative family members, or toxic news, it will blow out. You must protect it. The Wright brothers had each other. They formed a mastermind of two. They argued, they debated, but they never doubted each other's capacity. You need a mastermind. You need at least one person who looks at you and says, you can do this. If you don't have that person in your life, find them in books. Let Napoleon Hill be that person. Let Edison be that person. Surround yourself with the spirits of the great until their belief infects you. Remember, confidence is contagious, but so is lack of confidence. The world does not reward the uncertain man. It steps on him. It follows the one who radiates certainty. When you walk into a room with absolute belief, people sense it. They want to be near it. It is magnetic. Capital follows belief. Talent follows belief. Love follows belief. When your self-belief becomes immovable, you will find people, opportunities, and circumstances aligning as if by magic. But it is not magic. It is the natural law of attraction at work. You are a broadcasting station. What signal are you sending? Burn this into your mind. No man can climb beyond the limits he places upon himself. If you believe you are a $50,000 a year person, you will never earn $100,000. Even if the opportunity falls in your lap, you will sabotage it to get back to your thermostat setting. You must raise the setting. You must believe you are worth more before the world pays you more. The Wright brothers believed they belonged in the sky, so the sky accepted them. Where do you believe you belong? And no man is kept down when he believes with every fiber of his being that he was meant to rise. You can strip a believer of his money, his job, his reputation, and drop him in the middle of a desert. Come back in 5 years and he will be running the place. Why? Because his external circumstances do not dictate his internal reality. He carries his kingdom within him. This is the ultimate freedom. I charge you now, cultivate that belief. Let it grow wild within you. Let it overpower fear. Let it silence the voices of doubt and defeat. You must become a fanatic about your own potential. You must be unreasonable. You must be obsessive. The world belongs to the obsessed. Let us look at the moment of flight. The 17th of December 1903. A cold, windy day on the Outer Banks of North Carolina. The machine, the flyer, sat on a wooden rail. It looked fragile. It looked like a giant kite made of wood and muslin. Orville climbed in. The engine sputtered to life. And then it moved. It lifted. It stayed aloft for 12 seconds. It traveled 120 feet. To the casual observer, it was nothing. A hop. But to history, it was everything. It was the proof that the impossible was possible. It was the triumph of belief over gravity. What is your Kitty Hawk? What is the moment you are working toward? It might seem small to others. Oh, you just started a small website. Oh, you just lost 5 pounds. But you know what it represents? It represents the liftoff. It represents the victory of your spirit over the gravity of your old habits. Celebrate that liftoff. Protect that momentum. You must also understand that belief requires maintenance. You don't just believe once and you're done. Belief leaks. Life punches holes in it. Rejection drains it. You must refill the tank every day. This is why we have the morning hour of power. This is why we read. This is why we affirm. You must preach to yourself every morning. You must be the pastor of your own church of one. I am capable. I am worthy. I am destined. If you don't preach the gospel of success to yourself, the world will preach the gospel of fear to you. Consider the alchemy of ignorance. Sometimes it is better not to know how hard it will be. The Wright brothers didn't know it would take years. They didn't know the full complexity of aerodynamics. If they had known, they might have quit. Their ignorance protected their belief. Do not overanalyze the path. Do not try to see every pothole. Just believe in the destination and trust that you can handle the potholes when you get to them. Faith is taking the first step even when you don't see the whole staircase. There is a spiritual power in belief that we cannot ignore. When you believe in yourself, you are actually honoring the Creator who made you. You are saying, the equipment you gave me is sufficient. Doubt is an insult to creation. It is saying, I was made defective. You were not made defective. You were made with the seed of greatness. Belief is simply the water that allows that seed to crack open. So, look at your hands. Look at your mind. They are tools. They are the same tools that built the pyramids, that wrote the symphonies, that flew the planes. There is no difference between you and the Wright brothers, except the intensity of your belief. If you can match their belief, you can match their impact. In this truth lies your power. In this principle lies your fortune. Believe and the universe shall respond in kind. The universe is a mirror. Smile at it with faith, and it will smile back with fortune. As we close this chapter, I want you to imagine the Wright flyer taking off. I want you to feel the wind in your face. I want you to realize that you were born to fly. You were not born to crawl. You were not born to drift. You were born to soar. But you can only fly if you cut the ropes of doubt that tie you to the ground. Cut them. Cut them now. And as you rise into the air of possibility, you will need something to sustain you. You will need fuel for the long flight. That fuel is passion. In the next chapter, we will discuss pursuing passion unapologetically and how a washerwoman named Madam C.J.W.W. Walker used it to build an empire from nothing. We have established the power of choice. We have mapped the destination. We have armored ourselves with resilience and ignited the engine of belief. But even the finest engine, built with the most precision and armored with the strongest steel, will sit motionless and cold unless it is fed a specific type of high-octane fuel. That fuel is passion. Among all the forces that drive mankind toward greatness, there is none so potent, so consuming, so absolutely necessary as passion. It is the inner flame that refuses to be extinguished, no matter how fierce the wind of adversity blows against it. Passion is not a fleeting interest nor a passing desire. It is life's richest fuel. It is the controlled enthusiasm that ignites ambition, sustains effort during the long, dark winters of the soul, and compels the individual to reach beyond the confines of mediocrity into the realm of the extraordinary. During my lifetime of research, analyzing the lives of the most successful men and women who have ever walked this earth, I have had the rare privilege of looking behind the curtain of their public victories. I have studied what makes them tick. And I tell you now, without a shadow of a reservation, that the one trait they all shared, the trait which separated them from the herd of drifters, was a passion so strong it bordered on obsession. To the average mind, this intensity looks like madness. To the master, it is the only sanity. Thomas Edison, a man who worked 18-hour days for decades, once said to me, "I never did a day's work in my life. It was all fun." Analyze that statement. How can labor be fun? How can struggle be play? The answer lies in the transmuting power of passion. Because he was consumed by a burning desire to understand the secrets of nature, the effort was not a tax on his energy, it was a generator of his energy. He did not experiment with electricity because it was expected of him by society. He pursued it because it thrilled his soul. Passion is what kept him awake when others slept. Passion is what made him persist when others surrendered. So I must ask you a question that cuts to the bone of your existence. What is your passion? I am not asking what you do for a living. I am not asking what your parents wanted you to do. I am asking, what is the idea, the craft, the vision that grips your imagination with an iron hand? What stirs your blood? What would you pursue even if no man applauded and no coin was earned? You must find it, for within that pursuit lies your purpose. Do not confuse passion with interest. This is a fatal mistake made by the 98%. An interest is polite. An interest is a hobby you do on weekends when you have spare time. An interest can be set aside when the television is on. A passion cannot be ignored. It is rude. It interrupts your sleep. It calls to you in the quiet hours of the morning. It haunts your daydreams while you are sitting in traffic. It urges you forward no matter the cost. The man with passion may lack experience, he may lack capital, he may lack education, but he is never truly poor, for he possesses a wealth of energy, and energy directed with purpose is the very essence of power. Let us descend from the abstract to the concrete and examine a life that embodies the day one philosophy of passion. We turn our gaze to Madam C.J. Walker. Her story is not one of privilege. It is one of the most dramatic ascents in American history. Born Sarah Breedlove in the late 1860s, she was the first child in her family born into freedom after the Emancipation Proclamation. But freedom did not mean ease. She was orphaned at 7, married at 14 to escape abuse, and widowed at 20 with a young daughter. By the standards of her time, her life was over before it began. She was a washerwoman, toiling over steaming vats of clothes for $1.50 a day. Her back was bent, her hands were calloused, and her future seemed written in the gray ink of poverty. But Sarah Breedlove possessed a secret weapon. She had a passion for dignity. She began to suffer from a scalp ailment that caused her to lose her hair. For a woman of her time, this was a devastating blow to self-esteem and social standing. But instead of accepting this as a curse, she transmuted her pain into a passion. She began to experiment with home remedies. She became obsessed with finding a cure, not just for herself, but for the millions of other black women suffering in silence. She developed a formula. She tried it. It worked. At that moment, she declared day one. She was no longer a washerwoman. She was an entrepreneur. She was a healer. She traveled the country, giving demonstrations, teaching women how to care for themselves, how to carry themselves with pride. She built a factory. She built a sales force. She built an empire. She became the first self-made female millionaire in America. Analyze the alchemy here. She took the lead of her suffering, her poverty, her hair loss, her lowly status, and she threw it into the furnace of her passion. She didn't just sell hair products, she sold hope. She sold empowerment. Her passion wasn't just for the cream in the jar, it was for the woman looking in the mirror. That is why she was unstoppable. If she had just been interested in making money, she would have quit when things got hard. But she was passionate about her mission. This passion gave her a magnetic quality. It drew people to her. It opened doors that were bolted shut. It melted the resistance of a segregated and sexist society. She did not apologize for her ambition. She did not shrink back to fit the mold of a washerwoman. She stepped into her power unapologetically. This brings us to the concept of unapologetic pursuit. We live in a world that tries to shame passion. The drifters will tell you to be realistic. They will tell you to tone it down. They will say you are obsessed or workaholic or too intense. You must understand that these criticisms are actually confessions. When a person criticizes your passion, they are confessing their own lack of it. They are uncomfortable with your fire because it highlights their own coldness. You must learn to pursue your passion without apology. You do not owe the world mediocrity. You do not owe the world a diluted version of yourself. You owe the world your full intensity. Madame C.J. Walker did not apologize for buying a car or building a mansion or speaking her mind. She knew that her success was a beacon for others. Your passion is not a flaw. It is your superpower. We must also discuss the suffering test. The word passion comes from the Latin root passio, which means to suffer. This is a profound truth. Passion is not just about what you enjoy. It is about what you are willing to suffer for. Are you willing to suffer the long hours? Are you willing to suffer the ridicule of skeptics? Are you willing to suffer the financial uncertainty of the startup phase? If the answer is no, then it is not a passion. It is a pastime. The master is willing to suffer for his vision because the pain of the struggle is sweet compared to the pain of regret. Madame Walker was willing to travel on dusty roads, to be denied lodging, to work until her fingers ached because her suffering had meaning. Meaningless suffering is torture. Meaningful suffering is a sacrifice. Passion provides the meaning that makes the suffering bearable. Let us analyze the energy of enthusiasm. Napoleon Hill identified controlled enthusiasm as one of the keys to success. Enthusiasm is passion in action. It is a contagion. When you speak about your definite major purpose, do your eyes light up? Does your voice vibrate with conviction? If you are bored by your own dream, how can you expect the world to be excited? You must become the chief energizer of your life. You must generate the frequency of excitement even when you are alone in the room. This energy is a signal to the infinite intelligence that you are ready to receive. It is a signal to other people that you are a person of value. People want to be around heat. They want to be around light. Passion makes you luminous. Consider the law of compensation in regards to passion. You can only become great at something you love. This is a biological fact. To achieve mastery, you must put in the 10,000 hours that experts speak of. You must practice deep work. The human brain resists doing hard, boring things for long periods. It will sabotage you. It will seek distraction. But if you love the work, if you are passionate about the craft, the brain enters a state of flow. Time disappears. Effort becomes effortless. You learn faster. You retain more. You see connections that others miss. Therefore, pursuing your passion is the only pragmatic strategy for greatness. Doing work you hate is not a virtue. It is a waste of your genius. It is a sin against your potential. But how do you find this passion if you feel numb? How do you declare day one if you don't know what you love? You must become an archaeologist of your own soul. You must dig. Look at your childhood. What did you do before the world told you what you should do? Look at your pain. Often, our passion is hidden in our wounds. Madame Walker's passion was hidden in her hair loss. Maybe your passion is in your struggle with weight, or your financial ruin, or your loneliness. What problem do you want to solve for yourself and others? Look at your curiosity. What topics can you read about for hours? Follow the breadcrumbs of your curiosity, and they will lead you to the loaf of passion. And once you find a spark, fan it. Do not let it die. Protect it from the wet blanket of cynicism. You must also understand the evolution of passion. Your passion today might not be your passion in 10 years. That is okay. Day one is a mindset that applies to every new chapter. Madame Walker started with hair cream, but her passion evolved into philanthropy and civil rights. Passion is a living thing. It grows. It changes shape. Do not be afraid to pivot. Do not be afraid to let a dead passion go so that a new one can be born. The goal is not to stick to one thing forever out of stubbornness. The goal is to live a life of continuous engagement. The drifter is disengaged. The master is fully engaged with the present mission. We must address the fear of obsession. Society tells us to be well-rounded. It tells us to have work-life balance. These are concepts created by the middle class for the middle class. If you want a normal life, be balanced. If you want an extraordinary life, you must be unbalanced for a season. You must be obsessed. Was Edison balanced? Was Madame Walker balanced? No, they were tilted toward their purpose. They poured all their resources into one bucket. They put all their eggs in one basket, and then watched that basket. Obsession is only dangerous if it is destructive. If it is creative, if it is in service of a definite major purpose, obsession is the rocket fuel of the gods. Do not apologize for your focus. Do not apologize for saying no to trivial social obligations so you can work on your dream. Let us return to the idea of unapologetic. This means you stop asking for permission to be you. You stop waiting for a gatekeeper to open the door. Madam Walker didn't wait for a company to hire her. She hired herself. She didn't wait for a store to stock her products. She sold them door to door. Day one is the day you stop acting like an employee of the universe and start acting like the CEO of your life. It is the day you realize that your passion is your credential. It is your authority. When you speak with passion, you do not need a degree on the wall. The conviction in your voice is proof enough. I want you to visualize a fire. If the fire is small, a little wind will blow it out. If the fire is a raging inferno, the wind will only make it stronger. Your passion starts as a small flame. In the beginning, you must cup your hands around it. You must protect it. But as you feed it with action, with knowledge, with small successes, it grows. Eventually, it becomes a wildfire. It consumes your doubts. It consumes your fears. It consumes the obstacles in your path. It becomes a force of nature that commands respect. You want to reach the point where your passion is so big that the wind of adversity only fans the flames. Your passion must become your obsession, not in the destructive sense of addiction, but in the creative sense of total immersion. It must occupy your thoughts. It must command your attention. The world does not reward lukewarm efforts. It does not reward the person who sort of wants it. It rewards the person who must have it, the person who burns the bridges, the person who says, I will do this or I will die trying. This level of intensity scares the drifters, but it attracts the masters. It attracts the money. It attracts the luck. Let us look at the practical application. How do you pursue passion unapologetically starting today? First, identify the thing that you love. Second, schedule it. If you say you have a passion for writing but you don't schedule time to write, you are a liar. You have a wish, not a passion. Schedule a meeting with your passion every single day. Treat it like a meeting with the president. You do not cancel. You do not show up late. You give it your best energy. Third, share it. Do not hide your light under a bushel. Speak about your passion. Write about it. Share your enthusiasm. You will repel the people who don't get it, and you will attract the people who do. This is a necessary filtration process. Remember this. The man who thrives is the man who listens to the whisper of his soul and answers with boldness. Your passion is not random. It is not an accident of biology. It is the divine compass pointing you toward your destiny. It is the specific frequency at which you were designed to vibrate. To ignore it is to betray the best within you. It is to deny the world the gift of your uniqueness. To honor it is to awaken the giant that sleeps inside. So, I say to you, do not delay. Fan the flame. Nurture the spark. Give yourself wholly, fearlessly, unapologetically to the pursuit that brings you alive. Do not worry about the money. The money follows the energy. Do not worry about the status. The status follows the excellence. Worry about the fire. Keep it burning. Feed it every day. For passion is the difference between those who merely exist and those who truly live. As we close this chapter, I want you to feel the heat in your chest. That is your life force. That is your potential waiting to be released. Do not bottle it up. Let it out. Let it burn. Now, once you have this passion, once you have this fuel, you need a container to hold it. You need a structure to direct this explosive energy so it doesn't just blow up, but propels you forward. That structure is called a goal. In the next chapter, we will discuss the necessity of goal setting and how a man named Roger Bannister used a precise goal to shatter the limits of human possibility. We have ignited the passion, we have chosen the path. But raw energy, no matter how potent, is like steam rising from a kettle. Without a piston to contain it, it dissipates into the air and accomplishes nothing. Passion needs a container. It needs a direction. It needs a target. This brings us to the sixth fundamental principle of the Day One philosophy: the necessity of goal setting. Dreams alone are not enough. The world is filled with dreamers who die with their songs still inside them. The graveyards are full of potential that was never realized. But the world is ruled by those who dared to set goals. You see, a dream is the seed, but a goal is the root system that grounds it into reality. A dream inspires, but a goal directs. A dream can lift your spirits on a Monday morning, but a goal gives your energy a destination every single minute of every single day. You must understand this distinction with absolute clarity. A goal without a plan is merely a wish. It is a fleeting, intangible hope, destined to evaporate with the morning dew of procrastination. Wishes are the province of the idle. They are the comfort food of the drifter. Goals are the weapon of the determined. They are the blueprints of the master. A goal is a dream with a deadline. It is a commitment written in ink on the fabric of time. When you set a goal, you are no longer asking the universe for a favor. You are giving the universe an order. You are stating, this will happen, and it will happen by this date. This shifts your psychology from passive hope to active creation. Consider the example of Roger Bannister. His story is not just about running. It is about the physics of the impossible. Before 1954, it was universally believed by scientists, doctors, and athletes alike that running a mile in under 4 minutes was humanly impossible. It was the brick wall of human performance. Medical journals suggested that the human heart would explode under the strain, the lungs would collapse, the body would disintegrate. It was a limitation carved not in stone, but in the collective belief system of humanity. Runners would get to 4 minutes and 1 second and hit an invisible barrier. They weren't stopped by their legs, they were stopped by their minds. But Mr. Bannister, a medical student himself, did not accept the consensus. He did not accept the limitation. He saw the goal not as a physical barrier, but as a mathematical problem. He believed it could be done. And more importantly, he planned for it. He did not just go out to the track and run fast hoping for a miracle. He broke the goal down. He analyzed the splits. He calculated exactly how fast each quarter mile needed to be. 59 seconds, 60 seconds, 60 seconds, 59 seconds. He visualized the race. He engineered the conditions. He understood that to break the record, he had to break the belief. Every training session, every adjustment in form, every ounce of discipline, these were not acts of random chance. They were steps carved along a clearly defined path. He was not exercising. He was executing a mission. On that fateful day, the 6th of May 1954, at Iffley Road Track in Oxford, the weather was poor. The wind was gusting. The drifter would have said, "Conditions are not perfect, I will wait for one day." Bannister said, "It is day one." He ran. He pushed past the pain barrier. He pushed past the logic of the doctors. And he crossed the finish line in 3 minutes and 59.4 seconds. He collapsed into the arms of his supporters, not dead, not exploded, but immortal. Now, here is the most fascinating part of the story. The 4-minute mile had stood as an unbreakable barrier for decades. But within 46 days of Bannister breaking it, another runner, John Landy, broke it again. Within a year, 3 more runners broke it. Today, high school students break it. What changed? Did human evolution take a leap in 46 days? Did gravity change? No. The goal had been realized. The belief had been shattered. Once the mind accepted that it was possible, the body followed. Bannister paved the road that thousands would run on. This is the power of a goal. It doesn't just change your life, it changes the definition of what is possible for everyone watching you. Let me ask you, what is your 4-minute mile? What is the impossible standard that your family, your peers, or your society have imposed on you? Is it earning $1 million? Is it losing 50 pounds? Is it writing a bestseller? Is it finding true love after 40? Whatever it is, it feels like a brick wall. But I tell you, it is a paper wall painted to look like bricks. The moment you set a precise goal to break it, the wall begins to crumble. A goal, my friend, must be clear. Vague intentions yield vague results. I want to be successful is not a goal. It is a complaint. It creates a fog in the brain. The reticular activating system, the part of your brain that filters information, cannot find success. It can find $1 million in revenue by December 31st. It can find 12% body fat by June 1st. The more precise your aim, the more powerful your momentum. When the arrow knows its target, the archer can train his focus. You must be specific. You must be terrifyingly specific. If you cannot measure it, you cannot manage it. If you cannot see it, you cannot hit it. Let us analyze the anatomy of a goal. A true goal has three components: clarity, deadline, and plan. Clarity means you know exactly what it looks like. Deadline means you know exactly when it must happen. Plan means you know exactly what you will do today to get there. Without a deadline, a goal is just a task you can postpone forever. It sits on your to-do list, gathering dust, mocking you. A deadline injects urgency. It lights a fire under your chair. It forces you to prioritize. It forces you to say no to distractions. It creates a positive stress that pulls the best out of you. The drifter hates deadlines because they demand accountability. The master loves deadlines because they demand performance. You must break your goal into steps. This is where clarity becomes strategy. This is the reverse engineering of success. If you want to write a book in a year, that is the goal. Now break it down. That is 12 chapters. That is 1 chapter a month. That is 10 pages a week. That is 2 pages a day. Now the impossible mountain has become a manageable hill. Can you write 2 pages today? Yes, anyone can. The terror of the huge goal disappears, replaced by the discipline of the daily step. This is how you eat the elephant, 1 bite at a time. This is how you run the mile, 1 quarter at a time. Track your progress relentlessly. Be honest with yourself. Measure, adapt, refine. The journey to success is not a straight path, it is a zigzag. You will go off course. You will have bad days. You will miss targets. That is not failure. That is navigation. An airplane is off course 99% of the time, but the pilot constantly corrects it, and it lands at the destination. You must be the pilot. If you don't track your numbers, you are flying blind. You are hoping to land in Paris, but you might land in a swamp. Metrics are the language of the master. What gets measured gets improved. We must also discuss the psychology of sacrifice. Every goal has a price tag. There is no such thing as something for nothing. Napoleon Hill was very clear on this. You must determine what you intend to give in return for the object of your desire. Do you want to run a 4-minute mile? The price is pain. The price is early mornings. The price is skipping parties to train. Do you want financial freedom? The price is frugality. The price is study. The price is risk. Most people want the prize, but they don't want to pay the price. They are thieves trying to steal success. But nature has a security system. You cannot steal success. You must pay at the counter. When you set a goal, you must also set a sacrifice budget. What are you willing to give up? If you aren't willing to give up your Netflix time, your comfort food, or your fear of rejection, you don't really want the goal. You just like the idea of it. Consider the written contract. There is a magical power in writing your goal down by hand. When you write, you use your hand, your eyes, and your brain. You are imprinting the goal onto your nervous system. You are making a physical contract with yourself. Keep this contract visible. Put it on your mirror. Put it in your wallet. Read it aloud. When you read it, you are reaffirming your day one decision. You are telling your subconscious, I am still serious about this. If you hide your goals, you are hiding from your potential. Let us look at the stretch goal. A goal should scare you a little. If you set a goal that you know you can achieve easily, it will not change you. It will not demand that you grow. Bannister's goal scared the medical community. It was on the edge of the impossible. You need a goal that forces you to become a better person just to achieve it. As Jim Rohn said, set a goal to become a millionaire for what it will make of you to achieve it. The money is secondary. The character you build is primary. The person who can run a 4-minute mile is a different species of human than the person who sits on the couch. The person who builds a business is different from the person who punches a clock. The goal sculpts the soul. We must address the fear of disappointment. This is why many people refuse to set goals. They say, if I don't set a goal, I can't fail. They protect their feelings at the cost of their future. This is the logic of a child. The adult knows that disappointment is the breakfast of champions. You will be disappointed. You will miss the mark. So what? Reset the target and shoot again. The pain of regret weighs tons. The pain of disappointment weighs ounces. Choose the ounces. Do not let the fear of missing the target keep you from drawing the bow. Consider the concept of singleness of purpose. You cannot chase two rabbits. If you do, you will catch neither. You cannot run north and south at the same time. You must have a definite chief aim. You can have minor goals, but they must all support the major goal. Bannister didn't try to win the mile and the marathon, and the shot put. He focused all his energy on one metric, 3 minutes, 59 seconds. Laser focus burns through obstacles. Diffused light just illuminates them. Be a laser. Pick one major goal for this year. Obsess over it. Dream about it. Let it consume you. Let us return to the moment Bannister crossed the line. He said later that he felt like an exploded flashlight, completely spent. He had given everything. This is the feeling of a goal achieved. It is the feeling of total exhaustion and total exhilaration. You want this feeling. You want to know that you left it all on the track. You don't want to die with fuel in the tank. Setting a goal is the way you empty the tank. It is the way you express your full potential. The man who writes down his goals, who creates a strategy, who lives each day in pursuit of his purpose, that man becomes dangerous. Not to others, but to fear, to mediocrity, to doubt. He becomes a force of nature. The obstacles see him coming and move out of the way. The drifters see him coming and step aside. Why? Because he has momentum. Momentum is the hardest force to stop. A goal is the generator of momentum. Today, begin setting precise goals. Not tomorrow, not on New Year's Day. Today, right now. Pause this recording if you have to. Take a sheet of paper. Write down my goal. Then fill it in. Make it scary. Make it specific. Give it a date. Then write down the first step, just one step, and then do that step before you go to sleep tonight. This is the day one philosophy in action. And in the end, your life will either be a masterpiece of intention or a collage of wishes left unfulfilled. A masterpiece is painted with brush strokes of goals. A collage is slapped together with scraps of drifting. The choice is yours. Goals transform dreams into powerful realities. They pull the future into the present and force it to submit to your will. Act now and claim the life that is waiting for you. The clock is ticking, the race has started, the gun has gone off. Are you running or are you watching? Roger Bannister ran. He didn't wait for permission. He didn't wait for the doctors to agree. He ran into history. You have a race to run. You have a record to break. Not the world's record, but your own record. Break the record of your past limitations. Shatter the belief that you are average. As we close this chapter, remember the tape at the finish line. Visualize yourself breaking it. Feel the wind, feel the triumph, hold that image. Now, as you stand at the finish line of your visualization, you must realize that the body follows the mind. The legs run, but the mind commands. The next frontier is not physical, it is mental. To achieve the goal, you must master the instrument that creates the goal. In the next chapter, we will explore mastering your mind and how Henry Ford used his mental attitude to revolutionize the world. We have set the goal. We have ignited the passion. We have committed to the action. But now we must enter the Holy of Holies. We must enter the control room where the blueprint of your reality is drawn, revised, and approved before a single brick is laid in the physical world. We must speak of mastering your mind. Of all the gifts the Creator has bestowed upon mankind, there is only one over which you have been given absolute, unchallengeable control. You cannot control the weather. You cannot control the economy. You cannot control the actions of others. You cannot control the length of your life, though you may influence it. The only thing you have absolute dominion over is your own mental attitude. This is not a coincidence, it is a clue. It suggests that if you master this one thing, you master everything. You are what you think about most. This truth, simple yet profound, governs every success story, every tragedy, every triumph, and every downfall in the history of the human race. It is the strangest secret because despite being written in every holy book and taught by every philosopher, it remains a secret to the 98% who drift. They believe that their life is shaped by external events. They believe they are poor because of the government, or unhappy because of their spouse, or stuck because of their lack of education. They are wrong, they are poor, unhappy, and stuck because of the dominant thoughts they have allowed to take root in the garden of their minds. Your mind is a workshop, and every thought is a tool. With those tools, you are either building the palace of your dreams or the prison of your doubts. Let us look at the man who understood this principle perhaps better than anyone else in the 20th century, Henry Ford. Mr. Ford was not a man of great formal education. By the standards of the academic elite, he was ignorant. He did not know history, he did not know art, he did not know complex mathematics, but he knew something far more valuable. He knew how to use his mind. He captured the eternal law of success in one sentence. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. Analyze that statement. It is not a motivational quote. It is a statement of physics. It implies that the belief dictates the outcome. Consider the story of the V8 engine. Ford decided he wanted to build an engine with 8 cylinders cast in a single block. He called his engineers men with degrees, men with logic, men with facts, and told them to build it. They looked at the design and said, "It is impossible. It cannot be done. The heat will crack the block. The casting is too complex." Ford did not argue with the physics. He argued with their mindset. He said, "Produce it anyway." 6 months passed. Nothing. Another 6 months. Nothing. The engineers came back and said, "Mr. Ford, it is technically impossible." Ford replied, "Go right ahead, I want it and I'll have it." And eventually they found the way. The impossible V8 engine became a reality. What happened there? Did the laws of physics change? No. The mental attitude of the engineers changed. Under the relentless pressure of Ford's unwavering belief, their minds were forced to look past the impossible and find the how. Ford did not build the engine with his hands. He built it with his thought. He held the image of the V8 engine in his mind with such clarity and such intensity that the physical world had no choice but to rearrange itself to match his vision. This is the power of a mastered mind. It bends reality. It refuses to accept the facts of the drifter. It creates its own facts. If the mind of one man could so completely rewrite the rules of industry and put the world on wheels, what do you imagine your own mind could accomplish if only you would take possession of it? Your mindset determines your trajectory. Let me say that again so it sinks into your marrow. The path you are on right now is not dictated by your bank account. It is not dictated by your boss. It is dictated by the dominating thoughts that you allow to take residence in your mind from the moment you wake up to the moment you sleep. You must make a choice today, a firm, final, irrevocable choice, to guard your mind like a fortress. Imagine your mind as a citadel under siege. The enemy is negativity. The enemy is fear. The enemy is the can't and the won't and the impossible. If you leave the gates open, the enemy will walk in, burn your crops, and enslave your people. The drifter leaves the gates open. He watches the news and lets the fear of the world walk right in. He listens to gossip and lets the poison of cynicism walk right in. He replays his past failures and lets the ghost of regret walk right in. And then he wonders why his life is a battlefield of misery. The master stands at the gate. He is the guardian. He demands a password from every thought that seeks to enter. He asks, "Are you a thought of construction or destruction? Are you a thought of faith or fear? Do you align with my definite major purpose?" If the thought is negative, the master casts it out. He does not analyze it. He does not entertain it. He evicts it. This requires eternal vigilance. It is exhausting at first, but eventually it becomes a habit. Cosmic habit force takes over, and your mind becomes a sanctuary of strength. Let us use the metaphor of the garden. The mind is a fertile patch of soil. The soil does not care what you plant. It is neutral. It will return poison hemlock with the same abundance that it returns corn. If you plant corn, you get corn. If you plant poison, you get poison. If you plant nothing, you do not get nothing. You get weeds. Weeds grow by default. Negativity grows by default. You do not have to try to be negative. You just have to neglect your mind. To grow the flowers of success, you must cultivate. You must till the soil. You must plant the seeds of specific positive ambition. And you must water them daily with emotion and action. Positive thinking is often misunderstood. The cynics call it wishful thinking or ignoring reality. This is false. True positive mental attitude, PMA, is not ignoring the existence of problems. It is the strategic decision to focus on the solution rather than the problem. It is the refusal to accept a temporary defeat as a permanent failure. When Ford's engineers failed, a negative thinker would have said, "See, I told you it was impossible." A positive thinker says, "We haven't found the way yet. Keep looking." PMA is a tool of survival. It keeps the brain in a state of resourcefulness. When you panic, your brain shuts down. When you believe, your brain opens up. It sees options. It sees leverage. You must become the master of your internal dialogue. We all talk to ourselves all day long. The drifter's dialogue is a litany of complaints and fears. "I'm tired. This is hard. Why do they treat me like this? I'll never get ahead." This is a continuous hypnotic suggestion. You are hypnotizing yourself into mediocrity. The master interrupts this pattern. He rewrites the script. When the voice says, "This is hard," the master says, "This is necessary." When the voice says, "I'm scared," the master says, "I am growing." You must learn to talk to yourself, not just listen to yourself. You must be the orator of your own life, delivering a speech of victory to the audience of your subconscious. Start today with awareness. This is the first step. You cannot change what you do not observe. For the next 24 hours, I want you to audition your thoughts. Listen to them as if they were actors trying out for a play. If a thought walks in that is weak, whiny, or fearful, say, "Next." Do not hire that thought. Do not give it a role in your play. Only hire thoughts that are strong, capable, and optimistic. If you do this for one day, you will be shocked at how negative your default setting is. You will realize how much garbage you have been feeding your spirit. We must also discuss the law of association. Your mind is not a closed system. It is porous. It absorbs the vibrations of the people around you. If you hang around 5 drifters, you will be the 6th. If you hang around 5 millionaires, you will be the 6th. This is not magic, it is resonance. You pick up their thoughts, their language, their beliefs. You must curate your environment ruthlessly. If there are people in your life who are constantly dumping garbage into your mental garden, you must build a wall. You must limit your exposure. You cannot afford to have your precious mental soil contaminated by the toxins of small minds. Consider the concept of autosuggestion. This is the agency of control through which an individual may voluntarily feed his subconscious mind on thoughts of a creative nature. The subconscious mind is the great engine. It runs coxicum mentanelia seitsemen. It heals your body, it regulates your heartbeat, and it attracts your circumstances. But it is blind. It cannot distinguish between a truth and a lie. If you tell it with emotion, "I am a failure," it will accept that as an order and work to make you a failure. If you tell it, "I am wealthy," it will accept that as an order and work to make you wealthy. You must write your own orders. You must create a script of affirmations, not just happy thoughts, but definitive commands about who you are and what you are doing. Read them aloud. Shout them in the car. Whisper them before sleep. Repetition is the key. You are overriding years of negative programming. Let us look at the psychology of the thermostat again in the context of the mind. Your mental attitude sets your life's temperature. If you see yourself as a $50,000 earner, your mind will cool down your efforts whenever you get close to $100,000. It will sabotage you to get you back to the comfortable temperature. To change your life, you must reset the mental thermostat. You must become comfortable with a higher level of success in your mind before you see it in your hand. You must walk around your house acting as if you have already won. This feels foolish to the drifter, but it is the secret of the master. You are normalizing greatness. Henry Ford was once asked what he would do if he lost his entire fortune. He said he would have it all back in 5 years. Why? Because the money was just the reflection of his mind. You could take the money, but you couldn't take the mind that created the money. If you have a poverty mindset, $1 million will destroy you. If you have a wealth mindset, bankruptcy is just a temporary inconvenience. This is why you must work harder on your mind than you do on your job. Your job pays your bills. Your mind builds your fortune. We must address the influence of fear. Fear is the primary weapon used to control the mind. Fear of poverty, fear of criticism, fear of ill health, fear of loss of love, fear of old age, fear of death. These are the 6 ghosts of fear that haunt the human race. You must exorcise these ghosts. How? By staring them down. Fear thrives in the shadows. When you drag it into the light of logic, it withers. What is the worst that can happen? Ask yourself that. Usually, the worst case scenario is not death, it is inconvenience. Once you realize you can survive the worst, the fear loses its grip. You regain control of your mental faculties. Practical application. You need a mental maintenance protocol. Just as you brush your teeth every day to prevent decay, you must cleanse your mind every day to prevent negativity. This is what the morning hour of power is for. Do not check your phone first thing in the morning. That is giving the world access to your mind before you have armed it. Spend the first 30 minutes reading inspiring literature, meditating on your purpose, and visualizing your day. Armor up. Put on the breastplate of optimism and the helmet of clear thinking. Then and only then enter the battle. When you catch yourself spiraling into negativity, use the pivot technique. Acknowledge the negative thought, and then immediately pivot to its opposite. If you think, I'm going to mess this up, pivot to I am prepared and I will handle whatever happens. If you think, I don't have enough money, pivot to I am creating value that will generate abundance. You cannot stop the birds of worry from flying over your head, but you can stop them from building a nest in your hair. Keep them moving. Your mental attitude is an ally or an enemy. There is no neutral ground. If you are not actively cultivating a positive attitude, you are passively cultivating a negative one. Entropy is the law of the universe. Things tend toward disorder. Your mind tends toward worry. You must exert force to keep it ordered. This is the strenuous life of the mind. It is hard work. It is the hardest work there is, which is why so few engage in it. But the rewards are infinite. Let us return to Henry Ford. He was a man who refused to accept the reality that others tried to impose on him. He lived in his own reality until the world caught up. You must do the same. You must be delusional in the eyes of the mediocre. You must believe in things that cannot yet be seen. You must trust in powers that cannot yet be measured. This is the definition of faith, and faith is a mental act. From this moment on, let your mental attitude be one of purpose, power, and unshakable belief. When you walk into a room, bring the energy. Be the generator, not the consumer. When you face a problem, be the solver, not the victim. When you face a delay, be the stoic, not the child. You are the king of your mental kingdom. Rule it with a firm hand. Do not let the peasants of doubt sit on the throne. The world bends to the will of the focused mind. We see this in sports, in business, in art. The person with the strongest belief usually wins. The person who is most convinced of their truth usually persuades others. Your mind is a transmission station. You are constantly broadcasting a signal. If that signal is weak and static-filled, you get a weak response from the universe. If that signal is clear, strong, and coherent, you get a powerful response. Tune your frequency. Broadcast success, broadcast love, broadcast confidence. This is the secret of the ages. It is the key to the master's vault. Take possession of your own mind, and you take possession of your destiny. Surrender your mind to the chaos of the world, and you surrender your birthright. The choice is yours. The work is yours. The glory is yours. As we close this chapter, I want you to visualize your mind as a clean, bright room. You have swept out the dust. You have opened the windows. The sun is shining in. In this room, there is only possibility. There is only can. There is only will. Stay in this room. Live in this room. Now, as you stand in the center of your mastered mind, you realize that the mind needs fuel to grow. It needs new information. It needs to expand. A stagnant mind is a dying mind. In the next chapter, we will explore embracing continuous learning and how Andrew Carnegie used the habit of study to turn himself from a laborer into a legend. We have mastered the mind. We have set the thermostat. But a thermostat cannot heat a room without fuel, and a mind cannot build an empire without raw material. That raw material is knowledge. We have arrived at the 8th principle of the Day 1 philosophy, embracing continuous learning. There is a fatal disease that infects the majority of the population the moment they receive a diploma. It is the disease of intellectual complacency. They believe that education is a period of life, a chapter that closes when they leave the schoolhouse gate. They toss their caps in the air and say, "I am finished. This is the beginning of the end." The man who thinks he knows enough is already dead. He just hasn't been buried yet. Learning is not a phase. It is the bridge from where you are to where you want to be. It is the golden path that carries you from your current circumstances to the fulfillment of your deepest ambitions. No man ever rose to greatness by accident, and no man ever stayed there by stagnation. He learned his way there. The most successful individuals in the world, those who shaped industries, who built empires, who left behind legacies that defy time, they all shared one common trait. They were students until their dying breath. They understood that the universe is infinite in its complexity, and therefore the study of it must be infinite in its duration. To stop learning is to stop growing, and in nature, that which stops growing begins to rot. Let us turn our attention to the patron saint of self-education, Andrew Carnegie. I knew Mr. Carnegie well. I spent days interviewing him, dissecting his mind to find the source of his power. He was born into abject poverty in Scotland. When he arrived in America, he was a child laborer, working in a cotton factory for $1.20 a week. He had no formal schooling to speak of. He had no connections. He had every excuse to remain a laborer for the rest of his life. But Carnegie possessed a hunger that was more powerful than his hunger for food. He had a hunger for understanding. There was a man named Colonel Anderson who opened his private library of 400 books to working boys on Saturday nights. While other boys played or slept, Carnegie walked to that library. He devoured books on history, science, and literature. He understood that inside those pages lay the secrets of men who had lived before him. He realized that he did not have to live 1,000 lives to learn 1,000 lessons. He could read them. He turned those books into capital. He turned knowledge into influence. Later, as a telegraph messenger, he didn't just deliver messages. He learned the Morse code. He learned the operations of the railroad. He made himself indispensable through the acquisition of specialized knowledge. This brings us to a critical distinction that Napoleon Hill emphasized: the difference between general knowledge and specialized knowledge. General knowledge is what you learn in school: dates of battles, names of rivers, rules of grammar. It is cultural currency, but it has little economic value. Specialized knowledge is the specific technical or strategic information needed to perform a specific service that the world is willing to pay for. Carnegie didn't become the Steel King because he knew Latin. He became the king because he learned the Bessemer process of steel manufacturing before his competitors did. He learned the cost structures of mining. He learned the psychology of sales. He applied his learning directly to his definite major purpose. The drifter gathers trivia. The master gathers tools. You must ask yourself, is the information I am consuming today helping me build my vision, or is it just entertaining me? There is a difference between studying and doom scrolling. One activates the mind, the other anesthetizes it. Day one is the day you decide to stop being a consumer of information and start being a student of success. It is the day you turn your car into a university on wheels, listening to audiobooks instead of the radio. It is the day you trade your Netflix subscription for a masterclass. We live in an age that is vastly different from Carnegie's, yet the principle is even more urgent. We are in the information age. The doubling time of human knowledge is now measured in months, not centuries. Skills that were valuable 5 years ago are obsolete today. If you are relying on the skills you learned in college, you are fighting a modern war with a musket. You must upgrade your mental software. Adaptability is the highest form of intelligence in the 21st century, and adaptability is nothing more than the speed at which you can unlearn the old and relearn the new. I urge you to commit to daily improvement, not in bursts, not in times of crisis, but as a way of life. The Japanese call this Kaizen, continuous, incremental improvement. If you improve your knowledge by just 1% every day, the compound effect over a year is astronomical. You become a completely different person. The drifter says, I don't have time to read. The master says, I don't have the luxury not to read. If you are too busy to learn, you are too busy to succeed. You are like a woodcutter who is too busy chopping wood to sharpen his axe. Eventually, the axe gets dull and the effort yields no results. Sharpen your axe. Let us analyze the psychology of curiosity. Children are born curious. They ask why 100 times a day. They are learning machines. But somewhere along the line, the system beats the curiosity out of us. We are told to sit still, be quiet, and repeat the answer. We lose our why. The master reclaims the child's mind. They remain insatiably curious. They look at a problem and get excited. They look at a competitor and ask, how are they doing that? They look at their own failures and ask, what is the lesson here? Curiosity is the antidote to boredom and the cure for stagnation. When you are curious, you are never old. Carnegie was young at 80 because his mind was still expanding. Consider the role of the mastermind in learning. You cannot learn everything from books. You must learn from people. Carnegie surrounded himself with men who knew more than he did about steel, about chemistry, about finance. He was not afraid to look stupid. He was not afraid to ask questions. The man who is afraid to ask is ashamed of learning. The master knows that other people's knowledge, OPK, is a form of leverage. You can buy the knowledge of a chemist. You can buy the knowledge of a lawyer. You do not need to know everything, but you need to know where to find it. This is the difference between a walking encyclopedia and a leader. A leader organizes knowledge into a plan. We must also discuss the concept of actionable wisdom. Knowledge is not power. It is potential power. It becomes power only when it is organized into definite plans of action and directed to a definite end. There are people with PhDs who are broke. There are people who have read 1,000 books but cannot pay their rent. Why? Because they hoard knowledge without releasing it into action. This is intellectual gluttony. You eat the information, but you don't exercise the execution. You become mentally obese, heavy with facts, but weak in results. For every hour you spend studying, you should spend an hour executing. Learn, then do. Learn, then do. This cycle cements the knowledge into wisdom. Wisdom is knowledge applied. Let us look at the University of Failure. The greatest lessons are not found in textbooks. They are found in the wreckage of your own mistakes. The drifter tries to forget his failures. He hides them. He is ashamed. The master studies his failures like a forensic scientist. He dissects them. Why did I lose that sale? Why did that relationship end? Why did I lose money on that investment? He extracts the lesson, leaves the pain, and moves forward richer than before. If you are not failing, you are not learning. If you are not learning, you are not living. Day one is the day you enroll in the University of Failure and sit in the front row. We must address the ego trap of learning. As you become successful, the temptation is to think you have arrived. You start to believe your own press. You stop listening. You stop reading. You think, I am the expert. This is the moment the decline begins. The Greeks called it hubris. The moment you think you have nothing left to learn is the moment your competition starts to overtake you. You must maintain beginner's mind. You must always be green and growing, not ripe and rotting. Humility is the tuition fee for the school of wisdom. You must be willing to say, I don't know, in order to learn. Practical application. You need a curriculum for life. Do not just read randomly. Design your own degree. Identify the 3 skills that would have the highest impact on your definite major purpose. Is it public speaking? Is it digital marketing? Is it negotiation? Now, build a curriculum around them. Buy the 3 best books on each subject. Find the top 3 podcasts. Find a mentor who has mastered them. Dedicate the next 90 days to becoming competent in these areas. Treat your life like a project. You are the project manager of your own potential. You must also learn to unlearn. Many of the things that got you here will keep you from getting there. Old habits, old beliefs, old strategies. They become anchors. The world has changed. What worked in 1990 does not work in 2024. You must be willing to let go of obsolete knowledge. This is painful. It requires admitting that what you knew is no longer true. But the master values truth over comfort. He creates space for the new by discarding the old. Consider the investment portfolio of the mind. Benjamin Franklin said, an investment in knowledge pays the best interest. If you put money in the stock market, you might get a 10% return. If you put money into learning a new skill that allows you to double your income, you get a 100% return year after year for the rest of your life, and no one can steal it. A market crash cannot wipe out your ability to think, to create, to solve problems. Your competence is your only true security. The drifter invests in things: cars, clothes, gadgets. The master invests in himself. Let us return to the image of the library. Imagine your mind as a library. What is on the shelves? Is it filled with gossip, fear, and trivia? Or is it filled with biography, philosophy, and strategy? You are the librarian. You choose what gets stocked. If you want a different life, you need to stock different books. You cannot solve a level 10 problem with a level 2 mind. You must upgrade the mind to match the problem. This is the essence of day one. It is the commitment to upgrade your operating system every single day. We must also speak of observational learning. You do not just learn from books, you learn from the world. Study the people around you. Study the drifter. What is he doing? Do the opposite. Study the master. What is he doing? Emulate it. Study nature. Study the economy. Be a spy in the house of reality. Pay attention. Most people are sleepwalking. They look but do not see. They hear but do not listen. The master is hyper-aware. He sees patterns that others miss. He sees opportunities in complaints. He sees trends in headlines. This awareness comes from a trained mind. There is a spiritual dimension to learning as well. When you learn, you are expanding your consciousness. You are becoming more like the infinite intelligence that created you. The universe is constantly expanding. To be in alignment with it, you must expand too. Stagnation is a sin against the spirit. Growth is an act of worship. When you develop your talents, you honor the gift. When you bury them in ignorance, you insult the giver. I want you to think about the legacy of wisdom. What will you leave behind? Money, houses, those things decay. But if you leave behind wisdom, if you teach your children how to think, how to learn, how to adapt, you have given them true wealth. You have given them the ability to survive and thrive in any era. You become a link in the chain of human progress. Carnegie built libraries because he wanted to give others the same ladder he used to climb out of the pit. What ladder are you building? So, here is your assignment for this chapter. I want you to identify one topic that you know nothing about, but that you know is crucial for your future. Maybe it is artificial intelligence. Maybe it is psychology. Maybe it is sales. I want you to buy one book on that topic today. And I want you to commit to reading 10 pages a day. Just 10 pages. In a month, you will know more than 90% of the population. In a year, you will be an expert. This is how you build a tower, one brick at a time. This is how you build a mind, one page at a time. Do not be intimidated by what you do not know. Be excited by it. The unknown is not a dark room. It is a treasure chest waiting to be opened. Ignorance is not a permanent state. It is a temporary condition, cured by curiosity. You have the same brain capacity as Einstein, as Ford, as Carnegie. The only difference is how they fed it and how they used it. Feed it well, exercise it often. The man who ceases to learn begins to decline. It is that simple. There is no plateau. You are either climbing or sliding. Gravity pulls you down. Effort pulls you up. Choose the climb. Choose the book. Choose the difficult question. Choose the uncomfortable lesson. As we close this chapter, I want you to visualize your mind as a muscle. Every new fact is a rep. Every new concept is a weight lifted. Feel your mind getting stronger, faster, more agile. This agility is what will save you when the world changes. And the world will change. It is changing right now. The storm of progress is coming. The learner builds a windmill, the drifter builds a wall. Be the builder of windmills. Now, as you stand equipped with the power of a sharpened mind, you must realize that the ground beneath your feet is shifting. The world does not stay still. Plans go awry. Circumstances shift. To survive the journey, you need more than knowledge. You need flexibility. You need the ability to pivot. In the final chapter, we will discuss adaptability and how Thomas Watson used it to build IBM from the ashes of change. We will bring it all together and issue the final call to action. We have built the foundation. We have erected the pillars of choice, purpose, resilience, belief, passion, goals, mindset, and learning. But there remains one final law, one great binding force that ensures your survival in a universe governed by chaos. Without this law, even the strongest will shatter. Without this law, the most brilliant plan will become obsolete before the ink is dry. I am speaking of adaptability, one of the most important truths I ever discovered, and one I share with you now with the urgency of a warning siren is this: change is the only constant in life. No matter who you are, no matter where you begin, life will test you through the unexpected. Plans will go awry. Circumstances will shift. The winds of the economy will change direction. Technology will rewrite the rules. And when they do, your success will not be determined by your intelligence, your connections, or even your resources. It will be determined by your flexibility. The man who learns to adapt becomes undefeatable. He does not fear change, he leverages it. He does not resist disruption. He rides it like a surfer rides a wave. He sees not chaos, but opportunity. This is the mental attitude you must cultivate if you are to rise in the world. The rigid oak tree is mighty, but in the hurricane, it snaps. The willow tree is humble, but it bends, and when the storm passes, it stands tall. You must be the willow. You must be water. You must flow into the shape of the container that life presents to you, and then, with the force of your definite major purpose, you must break the container. Let us look at the life of Thomas Watson Sr., the man who built IBM into a colossal empire. Watson did not begin in computers. In fact, when he started, the very idea of a computer was science fiction. He started selling cash registers and scales. But Watson had something far more valuable than a single product idea. He had a vision of information processing. As the world evolved, as technology shifted from mechanical gears to vacuum tubes to transistors, Watson did not cling to the past. He did not say, "We are a cash register company." He said, "We are a solution company." He pivoted. He adjusted his strategy multiple times, sometimes in the face of massive failure, other times in response to market demands that no one else saw coming. Each shift brought new opportunities. Eventually, through countless iterations, he built one of the most legendary corporations in history. Watson's story is not just one of business acumen. It is a demonstration of what happens when a man embraces change rather than fears it. He coined the simple motto, "Think. Not remember, not repeat, but think." To think is to adapt. To think is to look at the new data and form a new conclusion. The drifter stops thinking when he leaves school. He runs on autopilot. When the road changes, he drives off the cliff because he is asleep at the wheel. The master is awake. He sees the curve. He turns the wheel. This, I tell you, is a principle of power. You must train yourself to welcome change. Let go of the neurotic need for certainty. Certainty is a fairy tale. Security is a superstition. Life is a daring adventure or nothing. Anchor yourself not in your circumstances, but in your ability to handle whatever circumstances arise. Belief in your own adaptability is the ultimate security. If you know you can learn anything, if you know you can pivot, if you know you can survive the loss of your current job or business and build a better one, you have nothing to fear. Adaptability is not the abandonment of your goals, it is the adjustment of your methods. Your destination remains the North Star, but your path may bend, curve, climb, or dig underground. That is perfectly fine. The pilot does not fly in a straight line. He zigzags around storms, but he always lands at the airport. Resisting change leads to stagnation. It breeds frustration, fear, and ultimately failure. It makes you a dinosaur in a world of mammals. But when you meet change with enthusiasm, you open the door to growth. Each disruption becomes a doorway. Each shift becomes a stepping stone. Adaptability fuels innovation. It is what allows the mind to see new solutions, where others see only dead ends. The greatest breakthroughs in history were not born in stability, they were born in necessity. They were forged in the fire of crisis. When the old way stops working, the creative mind invents the new way. So I urge you, begin cultivating adaptability today. View each unexpected event not as a curse, but as a test of your creativity. When plans fall apart, ask, what can I build from the wreckage? When markets shift, ask, what new value can I create here? The man who adapts becomes indispensable. He is trusted, sought after, and always ahead of the curve. And most importantly, he becomes resilient. He does not break when storms arrive. He bends, pivots, and moves forward with greater wisdom. Make adaptability your ally. Let it be the muscle you strengthen every day. In doing so, you will find that no change can defeat you, because you are always becoming. You are a verb, not a noun. You are a process, not a product. This is the essence of lasting success, and it begins with a choice to adapt. My friends, we have walked a long road together in this hour. We have dissected the anatomy of greatness. We have looked into the eyes of Edison, Ford, Lincoln, Carnegie, and Watson. We have stripped away the excuses. We have exposed the drifter. We have handed you the keys to the kingdom. But all this philosophy, all these principles, all these stories are useless without one final ingredient. They are like a pile of dry wood waiting for a spark. That spark is action. Ideas without action are the ghosts of potential. They haunt the mind, but they do not change the world. Action transforms possibility into reality. Immediate action creates momentum, opportunity, and tangible results. Hesitation breeds doubt. Action breeds clarity and confidence. You can memorize every word I have said. You can quote Napoleon Hill. You can have a library full of books on success. But if you do not step out of your door and do something, you remain a drifter. You remain a spectator in the arena of life. So I ask you one last time, is today one day, or is today day one? The past is a ghost. It cannot touch you unless you let it. The future is a dream. It cannot save you unless you build it. All you have is this moment, this singular pulsing electric moment. Use it. Ignite your journey. Take that first, uncomfortable, fearless step. The universe is waiting to crown you, but you must walk toward the throne. Let us revisit the Great Divide. On one side, the 98%. They are sleeping. They are waiting. They are hoping that tomorrow will be better without making it better. They are good people, but they are lost. On the other side, the 2%. They are awake. They are moving. They are taking the lead. They are building the future. Which side of the line are you on? This is not a rhetorical question. This is a life or death question. The death of your potential is a tragedy. Do not let it happen. I want you to make a contract with yourself right now. Close your eyes if you have to. Visualize the version of you that has achieved the goal. See them, feel them. That person exists. They are waiting for you to catch up. The only way to reach them is to start walking. Do not worry about the distance. Do not worry about the mountains. Do not worry about the how. The how reveals itself to the person who is committed to the why. Start now. Your dreams will remain dreams until you act upon them. There is immense power in immediacy. Speed of implementation is the secret weapon of the master. When you have an idea, execute it. Do not let it cool down. Strike while the iron is hot. If you wait, the iron freezes, and you cannot shape it. Use today to ignite your journey, knowing that every great achievement began with someone taking a first fearless step. One day or day one. The decision lies solely in your hands. It does not lie in your stars. It does not lie in your circumstances. It lies in your will. Choose wisely. Choose action. Choose to begin right now. Let this be the moment you look back on 10 years from now. Let this be the moment you say, that was the day everything changed. That was the day I stopped drifting. That was the day I became the captain. The pen is in your hand. The story is yours to write. Do not let anyone else hold the pen. Write a masterpiece. Write a tragedy? No. Write a triumph. Go. The world is waiting. Your destiny is calling. Answer the call. If this philosophy of day one has ignited a spark within you, do not let it fade in silence. First, click the like button. This is not merely for the algorithm. It is a signal to the world and to yourself that you value this wisdom. Second, subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications. By doing so, you are not just following a channel. You are officially joining a mastermind alliance. You are surrounding yourself with the top 2% men and women dedicated to self-mastery. Do not walk this path alone. Join us. Let us build this legacy together. But remember, a decision without momentum is just a ghost. To truly install these habits, you must keep the fire burning. I have prepared another deep dive into the laws of success right here on this screen. It is the next step in your evolution. If you are ready to refuse to drift, click the video now. Do not stop, keep climbing. I will see you there.